Hey everyone, my name is Evan. Going to be covering some severe weather here from probably mainly Michigan, but we also have some storms happening over here in northern Indiana as well, near the South Bend area. These are non-severe, but we do have a couple of severe storms existing here in Michigan. I kind of just wanted to tie everything together. I did want to do a forecast today, but we also have severe weather ongoing as well. So we're going to be talking about Michigan, keeping an eye on the storms, and then also talking about some future weather, and also maybe a little bit of something that's developing in the Atlantic. Maybe we'll see. It's still kind of in the early portions of trying to forecast that, but we'll see what ends up happening there. I do want to potentially get a camera up here. I don't think there's anybody chasing out there today, I don't think. Let me see if I can get this to go full screen. I don't think so, actually. What? Huh. There's no option to bring this full screen. Well, that's annoying. Never mind. That was in Flint, Michigan. I'm trying to find a view in Flint, and it's been kind of a challenge as these storms approach. But a lot of these storms are actually warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds. So those are going to be coming towards Fowlerville, Genoa Township, Hamburg, Unadilla, also over here near Flint. This storm is warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and then is pushing off to the east towards Flint. Also, Cass City, and Caro and Vassar in Michigan are also under a severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-per-hour winds as well. And then we also have another 70-mile-per-hour wind warning up here near Bad Axe and Harbor Beach. So if you guys live in those areas, 70-mile-per-hour winds are definitely going to be enough to knock out some power. And in fact, I'm wondering if we already have some power outages in Michigan. Yeah, we actually have quite a few power outages already, with 128,000 people without power currently in Michigan. A lot of folks are losing power from these winds. And as you can see, 70 miles per hour is definitely strong enough to knock out power for a lot of folks. If you guys live out in front of this storm, just make sure that you are indoors and away from windows, and be prepared for some spotty power outages as this pushes off to the east. I wouldn't be surprised to see these storms a little bit further south, near like the South Bend area, eventually try to become severe. Not sure if we're talking about much of a tornado threat today. There actually is a little bit of lower level shear out there. So if we could see some of these storms become a little bit less outflow dominant, we might see maybe some rotation within some of these storms. We did have a tornado warning earlier, but they warned it just based off of side lobe contamination, which essentially is an easily identifiable feature that shows rotation out in front in the inflow of the storm. And so therefore, the rotation completely disappeared as soon as some precipitation started to move into that area, which is what you would expect with side lobe contamination. But yeah, so that's what we are dealing with here in Michigan. Definitely a strong storm pushing through the area. And again, we're starting to see those power outages tick up. 128,000 people without power. That is, no joke. So definitely be indoors and away from windows as that pushes into the area. And we'll be watching to see if anything pops up, in terms of anything pops up in terms of any rotation. There could be some rotation down the line. I mean, there is 25 knots of shear along this leading edge. The main thing is that there's too much cold air kind of pushing out in front of the storms, and storms don't really like cold air like at all. How is Charles Vox County doing? Let me see. I know I'm saying that absolutely horrible, but I'm trying my best. Charles Volks near Green Bay. Yeah, Green Bay is pretty much done. But you said, yeah, Green Bay is done with the storms, at least with this round of storms. But there could be. I think we have a potential for another line of form. I don't know if that's still showing up in the models or not. I remember seeing another line behind this. I forget exactly where it forms. Okay, yeah, that's up in up in Minnesota. Okay, just double checking that that wasn't going to impact Michigan. But yeah, we also have some severe weather, believe it or not, in Canada too, associated with kind of the same kind of storm, a little MCV up there, causing some severe weather. North of Ottawa, and that is going to push off to the east, bring some gustier winds there as well. But let's kind of talk about today and what we can expect for the rest of today. So let's kind of zoom out here. As you can see, we do have a slight risk out there for a lot of folks. That's going to be, it looks like Chicago, Madison, Cedar Rapids. There still is a small chance for severe weather, but I wouldn't put a slight risk there unless we get a storm fire off a boundary here near Chicago. I don't really think Chicago's going to get much more out of this storm, but we could still see some additional development going into tonight. And some of that might have some elevated severe weather potential there, but still a lot of, still a slight risk and a marginal risk out there. Let's kind of push this out over here so we can kind of switch through the risks pretty quickly. We got a 2% tornado threat for parts of Wisconsin going into northern Illinois and then also Michigan as well. So we're watching for that tornado potential. Once it exits out over to Canada, we're not going to really be too concerned about it as it pushes into the New York area. Now, in terms of the main threats for today is going to be damaging winds, which we are already starting to see here in Michigan. So we're talking about power outages, which we've seen, damage to trees, maybe some lawn furniture could be knocked over. Some flying trampolines are always possible. And yeah, so got to be watching out for that as that storm moves off to the east, and then any additional development that can happen a little bit further back. If we come over here to the nationwide radar, you can see we do have some bubbling convection. We got a little boundary here. Potentially storms could fire off, and that maybe cause some severe weather. Also, some bubbling storms over here near Kansas and Springfield, and also Missouri. So I'm in Illinois as well. So we're watching out for those southern storms for kind of the rest of at least going into northern Indiana, into Ohio, and also parts of Pennsylvania and New York as well. What we're watching for is this outflow boundary to continue to fire convection kind of along its kind of leading edge here. So we could still see some storms technically all the way back down here later in the night, and some of those could have some elevated severe weather to them. Hail is also going to be a problem kind of in the same areas, so watch out for some hail if you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, coming into tomorrow, we also have, well, actually, let's finish up today. We'll go look at the models for today, the future timing for some of these storms. So this is the HRRR, the latest HRRR run. This is the 18Z. Most of it's loaded in, so that'll be fine. So let's kind of look at that, push this forward. You can see we do have storms in and around this region at around, so it's a little bit, it's pretty much on point here. It looks like right around 4 p.m., and then it's going to start to push down to the south and east towards Flint at around 5 p.m., and that continues into Canada, and then it should start to die off. It's like Canada is going to steal all the energy from this storm and not leave anything left for the United States if this model is correct. And as you can see, this model is really not firing too much along that boundary after that moves through. You can see some initial attempts, if any of those do mature, that the HRRR is not saying. If any of these do mature, we could see some, spotty thunderstorms in that area. You can see maybe a couple of attempts of initiation late or early in the morning at 2 a.m., kind of in the Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois region. And then that's going to be about it for this storm for that day. But for today, and then as we kind of move into the next day at around 10 a.m., we're still kind of monitoring this boundary for some severe weather. You can see over there for parts of Ohio and Bellefontaine, Columbus going into Pennsylvania. Also, West Virginia going into Maryland and New Jersey as well are going to have a chance, even as far back as Illinois and Indiana could see some severe weather going into tomorrow. And then, you can see those storms start to fire at around 1 to 2 p.m. And then we get another line of storms kind of move through Ohio by around 6 p.m., pushing off to the east towards West Virginia and Pennsylvania by around 8 p.m. And then that continues off to the east. And we're mainly going to be talking about damaging wind potential, maybe some small hail. Some hail is going to be possible with this. The tornado risk with this portion of the storm is relatively low. But over here in North Dakota, we could see maybe a tornado or two if these storms can stay a little bit discreet. Could definitely see a tornado in northern South Dakota or South Dakota going into North Dakota, and that'll probably be one of the main threats up there. Also, some risks for some damaging winds and some significant hail if those storms are a little bit more isolated. But yeah, after this kind of moves through Pennsylvania, kind of down the line. So we're right around 9 p.m. here, still seeing some thunderstorms push through Pennsylvania, then eventually making it into New Jersey by around 4 a.m. Sometime around 6 p.m., Indianapolis and also St. Louis is going to be watching out for some pop-up thunderstorms that could eventually become severe. It's a marginal environment, so we're not expecting all of them to go to severe at once. And then after that, going into the next day, we're going to have another slight risk out there for parts of Minnesota. Going into Iowa and also Nebraska are going to be getting in on it. So, a couple of things to watch out for over the future. Definitely going to keep an eye on that. Let's go back over here and check in on our severe weather here. So yeah, it looks like Flint is going to start to get impacted by the storm. Still 70 mile. It looks like they've actually upgraded this portion. This was 60-mile-per-hour winds, and now it's 70-mile-per-hour winds coming for Flint, Michigan. So please continue to be indoors and away from windows, and don't be surprised if this thing causes some power outages. Again, we're getting quite a few power outages in Michigan already. 128,000 people without power in Michigan. So it's very likely that continues to happen the further east that we go. So just be on alert, be indoors and away from windows, and you'll be all right. What color palette do I use? This is the Viper radar color palette, and I also have a little bit of a filter on my radar as well. So it kind of makes the colors pop a little bit more. And then I also use, one of the things that also helps the radar colors pop is using like a darker gray for severe thunderstorm warning or severe thunderstorm watches and tornado watches, because it creates contrast with the map and the in the radar, just so people could really see the warnings really well. If I had the severe thunderstorm watches yellow, the severe thunderstorm warnings would kind of fade into the dark, or kind of fade into that, and you wouldn't really be able to tell too much. I understand very well that you guys are watching this. Most people are watching this from their phone, and I'm trying to, I make sure that I use, the biggest font that this program allows, just so people can see their cities pretty clearly. Also on the northern side of this, we still have a 70-mile-per-hour wind warning going into Cass City and Dayton. Down the line is going to be areas like Sandusky, Watertown, Lexington, and Forester. Up a little bit further to the north, we got Bad Axe and Bad Axe. That's a good one. It would be very bad acts of people in Bad Axe if they were indoors and away from windows. If you live in Port Austin, Port Hope, and Harbor Beach, and Ubley, you guys need to be indoors and away from windows there as well. I mean, it looks like we just got an extension of this warning into Burnside, Lapeer, and Goodland. Genoa Township and Hamburg are still in the path of the southern portion that is has some potential there for some 70-mile-per-hour winds, and eventually this is going to be pushing into areas like Ann Arbor, St. Clair Shores, and Detroit in down the line. So hopefully we're not still dealing with 70-mile-per-hour winds, but I mean, it's been pretty consistent for the past hour, so we'll be keeping an eye on it. Bad Axe sounds like bad. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's why I made that joke. Will I be live Thursday? It just depends on, what it looks like out there. Just depends. Maybe. And I really don't, I really don't have much to do. So, yeah, what do y'all think about this background? Is it weird? I was messing with my green screen earlier. I didn't have time to take it down and replace my other background, so I just threw a random storm time lapse up there. You're live streaming it on your Twitch. What are you live streaming? Did you hear Iowa? So yeah, Iowa's going to be for Thursday. So not tomorrow, but the next day. Iowa could be in the threat for severe weather again. Also Minnesota and Nebraska as well. So just keep your eye out. It's a little bit too early to tell exactly what that will bring, but it will be a little bit of a larger scale system. So hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to forecast than what we've been dealing with some of these storms. Yeah, still not seeing any, stronger rotations with these. Well, main thing that we're watching here is this outflow boundary. So that's that cooler air that's surging out in front of the storm. Again, these storms, warm and moist air is like sushi and steak and crab legs for these storms. Colder air is like anchovies and I don't know, spoiled milk for these storms. They really don't like it. If they eat it, they throw up cold air and it pushes out in front of the storm. And And yeah, it starts to lose intensity, starts to get a little bit weaker in terms of the tornado threat. But if we see a part of this storm kind of surge into that outflow boundary, it could technically try to rotate and produce a tornado. We're not at a zero tornado threat with these, but I think it's on the low end of things. Definitely something to keep an eye on and to keep, checking for rotations. I really do want to try to get a view of this storm, though. At least any part of the storm. There is a live webcam in Detroit, or there was one, but I don't think it's working anymore. There's also a couple near the border of Canada and Michigan, but I think a lot of those are not working anymore. Well, this one actually has some volume. We'll use this one really quick. Bring that over here. This is the view from pretty far away from the storms, but eventually these storms will make it over to this camera. So we'll be able to get a view of a storm eventually. There's just not a whole lot of cameras in between Detroit and where the storm is right now. And unfortunately, there's not many live cameras in Michigan with like traffic cams. I think that all of them are static cameras. Yeah, they're all static cameras. I mean, we could technically get a photo of one of these, a couple portions of this line of storms if we can get lucky and find a camera in the right area. But without a live view from the traffic cams in Michigan, it's going to be a little bit harder to try to track these storms, at least without, or with actual live view. A little bit of a surge here north of Genoa Township. You see, it's trying to push into that outflow boundary, but still pretty outflow dominant at this moment. Also getting some damage reports out here. North of Bay City, we had some large tree down. Also multiple reports of trees and power lines down on Beaver Road as well. And that's going to continue off to the east. Looks like Flint, Michigan is now getting into some of that heavier rain and wind. So continue to be sheltered in place within your house, please. There is a Vicksburg, Michigan Skycam. You look that up. Vicksburg, Michigan Skycam. Jeez. Sounds windy. Let me commandeer this spot here. Okay, so this is a Skycam in Vicksburg. Let me see where Vicksburg is on my map. Vicksburg. That's Mississippi. Vicksburg, Michigan. Just searching this really quick just to see if we'll actually see anything from this. Yeah, this is behind, unfortunately, the storm. We'd be looking for, like, the best places to probably have a cam would be in Jackson, Ann Arbor, Genoa Township, Burnside, Sandusky, and Harbor Beach. So if you guys find any cams, in that area, just put it in chat what I search for on the web. Hello, hello. How's Detroit doing? Detroit is down the line here, but those severe thunderstorm warnings are starting to enter into parts of Detroit, like Waterford Township and West Bloomfield Township. So you guys should be considering getting indoors and away from windows. The storm is actually moving relatively quickly. If we come over to here, you can see that it's moving at 40 miles per hour. So definitely not a slow moving storm. So I would definitely consider getting in that safe or indoors and away from windows, sooner than later. Let's go check out. Yeah, the power outages, by the way, are still continuing to go up here. We are now talking about 138,000 people without power in the Michigan area. Still continuing to spread to the east. We lost power here. Yeah, a lot of people have lost power. Video on Discord. I'll try to bring Discord up, but sometimes Discord just causes my stream to freeze. Are you live on Discord? Check. Video. I'm guessing it's in weather photos. Oh, wow. Is this from today? I don't think that's from today. Where is it on Discord? I can't find it. I cannot find it. You were live on Twitch and then you lost power. Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Well, just let me know if you talk to Blondie or at Blondie in the Discord, and we'll try to locate that just in case you do get power on. But you know, the fact that you lost power probably means that you're not going to get it back. Because or until or after the storm passes. Further up to the north here, looks like the Bad Axe portion of this storm is now pushing towards Harbor Beach and Port Hope and Port Austin next. So continue to be indoors and away from windows there. Let's go a little bit further south towards Albion. How long is the storm going to be in Michigan? For a little bit while longer. Here's that leading edge of most of the storm. It's traveling at 40 miles per hour. So let's do a little bit of an extrapolation here. So yeah, for about an hour, hour and 30 minutes for most of Michigan. The southern portion of Michigan will probably be in the storm for at least 2 to 3 more hours, or at least got 2 to 3 more hours until that exits out of Michigan and starts to head into Ohio. You caught it when the storm hit on Twitch. Gotcha. When you were a kid, the name of a snowstorm was Snowstorm. Gotcha. You know, when I was a kid, that was the same thing for me. What about everybody else? Was the name of each snowstorm still a snowstorm when you were a kid? Me too. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people dealt with that as well. Tornado in North Carolina missed your house by 1,400 feet. Jeez Louise. That's a little scary. Heck, that's snow? Breaking news, folks. I got some breaking news. I'm not sure if you can see it, but that's actually some snowflakes on the GFS at hour 30 in Montana. The first snowflakes I think we've been able to see on any models in the United States is now showing up on the GFS. Let me see if I can zoom into there. There we go. Yeah, there it is. The first snowflakes in August. That's only 30 hours out, so this isn't La La Land. That has a good chance of happening. There in Montana, it's probably in some mountainous regions, but that's the first stuff I've seen on the models. Breaking news. All right, let's come back down here and look at Michigan. I'm gonna try to turn on the music, guys, but I don't know why. There's something wrong with the volume. I didn't touch the volume at all, but it's probably gonna be a little bit louder. Yeah, it's so much louder. And it's on the volume is on 1%. I didn't change anything on my OBS at all, so I have no idea what's going on. Maybe it's like a computer volume thing? No. I think it's just too loud. I'm gonna have to figure out what's causing that. Your power flashed on and off and has started to be good here in Flint. Okay, it's not quite over. You still could have some stronger gusts on the backside still. So just continue to be indoors and away from windows. Hopefully your power stays on, though. I hope it does. It still looks like they're warning this portion of the storm for 70 miles per hour. And that's eventually going to start to move into Burnside next. Love the new background. Thank you. Yeah, I am experimenting again with my green screen. Here, we'll break the fourth wall here real quick. This is what it really looks like in my room right now. There's a little green screen there. Take out the background and then put a little video of a storm back there. Definitely going to be experimenting with it. I think it'd be cool. You could probably put some things for different types of, events. Like if there's a tornado on the ground, I might put a video of a tornado back there. I don't know. Will Portage have a warning soon? Where is Portage? I think it's... Where is Portage? Let me find out where Portage is. Pretty much anybody that's down the line of this storm is going to get a warning. No, Portage looks okay. Looks like you guys are done with your severe weather, or with your weather. You might have had some rain over there south of Kalamazoo. They are starting to warn southern portions of this now. Albion is in a 60-mile-per-hour severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to be pushing towards Jackson. You can see the southern portion of this storm is actually got some decent intensity, so we might start seeing those severe thunderstorm warnings start to work their way back into northern Indiana, where we are still seeing some heavier thunderstorms down there. So still monitoring that potential as well. But the strongest winds, at least, are still on this leading edge of this kind of on this boundary here, pushing off to the east. There's two portages. Uh-oh. I search for the other one. Portage. It only pulls up one, I think. Michigan. Yeah, where's the other one? Because it's only pulling up that one. Why was that tornado warning canceled earlier? Because there wasn't any legitimate rotation on it. They might have canceled it because the side lobe contamination went away, but they warned it because of side lobe. It was not actually a legitimate area of rotation. Sometimes when a storm starts to form in the inflow of the storm, the clear air of the storm, you can get side lobe contamination. And if you have a lot of experience of watching out for severe weather and tornadoes, you'll be able to notice it really fast. But some people in the different NWSs don't have as much experiences as other parts of the country, and sometimes they get tricked by side lobe contamination, issue a tornado warning, and then as soon as the rain moves into that inflow, you start to see what the true velocities are near the surface, and that velocity couplet just disappears because it was never legitimate in the first place. And that's why the tornado warning was issued, because they got tricked by a little radar flaw that some people just they just don't know how to, they don't know how to spot it super easily. It takes a lot of experience of watching the radar to really be able to spot that quickly and be able to make an easy judgment. Oh, that's not a legitimate area of rotation. Will this storm hit Ontario, Canada? Yeah, it's going to try to. It should fall apart mostly by the time it moves into like London, Hamilton, and Toronto, but there's definitely some potential there. Was there a tornado in Grand Blanc? In Michigan, we have no tornado reports yet in Michigan. Is Detroit good? Well, your severe thunderstorm warning right now is for 60-mile-per-hour winds, but I still would expect some power outages with that portion of the storm. It seems like our strongest areas of the storm are down here to the east of Flint and another one over here near Harbor Beach. Hey, thank you, Relic Hominin, for the $5, the €5 actually. which I just found out is $6.61 in American money. So thank you so much. You have to celebrate a side lobe contamination rant with the donation. Yeah, yeah, that's one thing that becomes very likely. You know, the tornado risk might be up 2% up here, but me talking about side lobe contamination, especially when we start to go into some of these states that don't necessarily get severe weather that often and don't necessarily get tornadic weather that often, you're going to hear me use the word side lobe contamination usually more than I'm comfortable with, because it's just a problem. I remember we were covering New York not too long ago. We had like 45 tornado warnings, 43, 45 tornado warnings, and only 7 of those were confirmed tornadoes because they just kept on warning side lobe contamination after side lobe contamination, which was unnecessary. So you got to watch out for that when you're watching the radar and issuing warnings. That was horrible. Yeah. I missed a level 3 member. Oh, whoops. Let me check that out. Oh yeah. Hey, thank you, Lisa, for becoming an EF3 member. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Everybody put birthday cakes in the chat for Lisa. Sorry I missed that. I must have been ranting about side lobe contamination. Where you're living, you're gonna get penny-sized hail. Yeah, there is potential for penny-sized hail in this storm as well, but you really won't notice it as long as you're doing the right thing, which is being indoors and away from windows. Still trying to find a decent camera. Dang it. Oh wow, just got a jump up here of 20,000 power outages. So now we're at 156,000 power outages in the Michigan. So, you know, still ticking up, and these storms are approaching Detroit, so might start to see those power outages creep into Detroit as well. Surely Detroit has some webcams. Let me search for some webcams in Detroit. Surely. I want to get a view of the storm. Detroit, and I'm not going to give up until I find one. Detroit webcam live. Surely. I mean, we got a cam out over here. Oh, wait. Where'd that other cam go? Oh, here it is. This is near St. Clair River. So we will be able to see the storm with this one, 100%. That is near Detroit. It was sunny out ahead of the storm. Let's see here. Downtown Detroit webcam. And it's sunny in Detroit as well. Put this here, see what happens. Yeah, it just gave me an ad. Try again. Okay, so that one doesn't work. Yeah. We'll try to find some good views for you guys. But yeah, it's sunny in Detroit. Doesn't even look like a storm is coming, to be honest. Let's see. I'm gonna keep searching. Ann Arbor is sunny too. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks like everywhere. Let's go look at the satellite view. I'm interested. See that contrast on satellite. We'll go. Do we have a mesoscale view of this? There we go. What about geocolor? We don't have geocolor. But yeah, you can see we just have just enough sunlight to see that, you know, right out in this area, very sunny, especially over here in eastern Detroit. That's where we are currently have that one webcam that it's looking real sunny over there. So yeah, not a cloud in the sky. How tricky is that? It's a tricky storm. It's a trickster. You know, it's making you think nothing's coming. It's an illusion, though. It is just an illusion. All right, Detroit River Watch webcam. Okay. So we have another webcam in Detroit. Let me get this one up. See if we end up seeing anything with it. We'll just get a couple of cameras in the Detroit regions. Might as well. And then we'll go I'll go do another. Man, look how sunny it is. It's a beautiful day. If I didn't know any better, I'd be out there getting a suntan. Oh wow, that's actually got sorry. It's got some volume to it. Where's that coming from? Oh, it's coming from here. Sorry. All right, let's do a little update here. Looks like next in line for the 60-mile-per-hour winds here is going to be Jackson, Leone, Napoleon, and Waterloo Village. Also, Ann Arbor, West Bloomfield Township, Waterford Township, and Oxford Charter are all under a 60-mile-per-hour wind warning. Hey, thank you, Lady J, for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Everybody put birthday cakes in the chat for Lady J. That is a huge help out to the channel. Looks like we're still dealing with the potential for those 70-mile-per-hour winds over here, heading into Burnside, Michigan. After that's going to be Goodland, and then Sarnia. And then over here near Harbor Beach, it looks like we're still dealing potentially with 70-mile-per-hour winds. Going to be moving into Harbor Beach soon, and Port Hope, yeah, here shortly. You had the baby all day and you're tired. Yeah, I can only imagine. My brother, when he had kids, he would bring them to the beach, and he still keeps on bringing them to the beach. And they're like definitely on the younger. They were very young and crying a lot. And then like when they're not crying, they have so much energy. So just trying to like keep up with them is definitely a task. Definitely will make you tired. All right, I'm gonna replace this cam. I found another cam out there. I think this one's in downtown Detroit, if I am not mistaken. I gotta try this again. This is the same one that we found earlier, but this one should be able to go full screen here. Perfect. So this is in downtown Detroit itself. Is it live? Yeah, okay. Looks like the service is a little spotty, but it is live. So we will keep that in mind as the storm approaches. Evan has nieces. I think everybody has nieces and nephews. I don't think I've ever met somebody that doesn't have a cousin, niece, nephew. Like I wouldn't like that's got to be impossible, right? To have just like no relatives at all. And the Canadian radar looks a lot more ominous than the than the Michigan radar for some reason. You don't have any niece, nephews, or cousins? I don't think I believe that. Oh, you missed the cousins part. Gotcha. Storms are still approaching here. Still getting closer and closer to Detroit. Can't quite see them on that webcam here yet, but I think give it a little bit and we will be able to see it. Just looking to see if I can find any more cameras. I'm going to try Ann Arbor next. Ann Arbor webcam. University of Michigan Architecture Engineering in Ann Arbor. We'll see if it pops up. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this will show us what's happening on the ground, at least, in Ann Arbor as the storm approaches. It will load eventually. There we go. It's definitely getting windy in Ann Arbor. Kalamazoo is behind the storm now. You sent a can or a DM of a cam viewing Detroit. Oh yeah. Okay. And we'll use this one as well. It's our last spot for a cam, I think. This one actually has a view. It's actually looking at from Detroit. Can you guys guess from which country? This camera is technically, well, actually, I'll let y'all guess which country first. Yeah, it's very hot out there. We had a report, I think, of 119-degree heat index. A 119-degree heat index in Chicago. Somebody said Omaha is the country. Mexico. Can't be Canada. I feel like Dora the Explorer. Can you guys tell me what country we're in? Try to search the screen for a flag. Do you see a man walking near the river with a bottle of maple syrup? Is that a moose? uh, that's Poland, obviously. All right, looks like they've upgraded this. Is this upgraded? No, okay. So they downgraded most of this line. They're expecting this thing to weaken as it moves to the east. But as of right now, this part of the storm is still warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds. Both of these guys here. So that's going to be for Burnside, all the way down towards Waterford Township and West Bloomfield Township, Ann Arbor, and Pittsfield Charter Township as well. Let's go back over to our Ann Arbor cam. We'll watch the winds. We'll be able to see the winds pretty good on this one because we got a bunch of little trees in the way. Bunch of little trees down there. Make this. There we go. The Canadian bacon plants. Yes, Canadians. Yeah, fun fact: in Canada, the bacon grows out of the ground. Not sure if you guys knew that. It's no hotter than 80 degrees Fahrenheit in Chicago after today. Yeah, yeah. That cold front should help. Yeah, that cold front should help a lot. Uh-oh. Did we already lose this camera? No, okay. Whew, I was about to say. I've seen cameras go down, with severe thunderstorms, but usually the winds are a little bit stronger. You were told you're going to get some storms due to humidity. It's always possible, but in the summer, always look at unless it's like a larger scale system, which what we're dealing with right now. Always take the forecast with a grain of salt. I mean, even a couple days before this, we didn't really even know if this storm was really going to happen here in Michigan. We had a couple disagreements in the models. Just looking at some of the, velocities here, still not seeing any rotation on any of these storms right now. Yeah, still the winds still aren't overly impressive there in Ann Arbor. I think what I'm gonna do, I think that's what Brett View, so that's Tyler. Okay, so I'm gonna put this camera underneath me here, and then once we start to see something pop up, we'll go look at it. Yeah, make sure you guys are liking the stream. It does help us reach more people. Pretty much how liking the stream works is when you like the stream, like say someone from like Ann Arbor or Rochester Hills, Sterling Heights, Warren, or Crosswell are searching for severe weather coverage on YouTube, it is more likely that this live stream will get pushed out from YouTube to them if you hit the like button. There is no other reason to hit the like button. Zero other reason. But that does help. So please hit that like button to help us reach more people in the path of these storms. Because it is causing a decent amount of power outages. Again, if you're just now tuning in, we have 156,000 people without power in Michigan. And in fact, almost 50% of people in Clare County are completely without power still. Let's go see if we have a new update on that. Yeah, now we're at 163,000 people without power here in Michigan. So it's still continuing to go up, and it'll probably tick up a little bit further as the storm moves through Detroit. Your dog is mad at you because you won't let her stay out in the heat. It's okay. It's just one of those times when your dog doesn't understand that you love it. It's what teenagers do all the time. It's gonna hold your ground. Checking in from Northern Illinois. Yeah, Northern Illinois, just, we just like we still haven't seen these storms pop up. We do have a little bit of a stationary boundary here. Still watching to see if storms can kind of fire off that for like parts of Northern Illinois. We do have some rain, even yeah, some rain kind of trying and some storms trying to pop up over here in southern Wisconsin. But nothing, concerning at this point. It seems like that main forcing mechanism is off to your east. Yeah, Wisconsin's just got rain right now, guys. Your storms were earlier, so I just didn't update my thumbnail. There is still a chance, technically, that some of these storms, will cause some thunder. But the main reason why I kept it as it is because we're still monitoring for severe weather here in parts of Kansas, northern Missouri, going into Illinois, like southern Illinois. That could definitely be a possibility. Could see some large hail and maybe some damaging winds over there. This hasn't really gotten started yet. You're in Lansing. Let's go. How's Ann Arbor looking? And where's Lansing? Oh yeah, Lansing's good to go for the rest of the day. Yeah, let's go check out Ann Arbor again, as those winds should be starting to move in. This is definitely near a college campus. You could tell. You got a lot of college kids walking around in this area. You see them on the left side there. Winds are starting to move in a little bit, but that leading edge of the storm still hasn't. The gust front is probably in and along this little thin part here. So that'll probably be where the initial stronger winds come from, and that's about to push into Ann Arbor. It's bad. Okay, so we might still have some stronger winds on the backside because I'm hearing reports from Kalamazoo that it's still bad over there, and over there near Lansing as well. So there still might be some stronger winds behind the main area of convection. Thank you, Marla, for sharing the stream to your brother. I promise we will keep him safe. Lincoln Park. Yeah, we can't play any copyrighted music on the stream. Sorry. I'm just kidding. Let's see here. If I could play Lincoln Park, I would. Yeah, so eventually, it looks like you guys are under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds. And that's going to eventually get down to you probably within the next 30 to 40 minutes. Oh, that's a great band. I used to jam out to Lincoln Park all the time. What's with the digital radar stations? They just started popping up. Digital radar stations. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, I know, I know. We just looked at it. It was a joke. I don't think. I mean, we still have 70 mile per hour wind warnings on this portion of the storm. But by the time it moves off to the east a little bit further, it seems like what they are thinking is that this is going to lose intensity. It still seems to be a decently strong portion of the storm here. You can tell by the velocities coming in on radar. Still have some spots in here with anywhere from 60 to 70 mile per hour winds still near West Bloomfield Township. That's where I'm seeing some of the worst winds right now. Hey, thank you, Regina, for being a member for 16 months. I do appreciate that. Says, thank you for all you do, keeping folks safe, informed in all things weather. Congrats on your growing success. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hopefully all is well in your channel. But thank you for poking your head in and saying some such nice words. I do appreciate that. It looks like the storms in the northern portion of this are pretty much done, but it does sound like there is still some stronger winds on the backside, so you're still probably going to get some stronger winds. This is going to cross over this lake here. Let me see. Yeah, this is Lake Huron, or Huron. It's going to cross over that lake and then enter into Ontario here shortly. Probably within the next 30 to 40 minutes. Is this storm hitting Wyoming? Imagine if it did. But no, Wyoming is good right now from this storm. We would need a real backward storm. I don't even think there's a scenario where that's ever going to be possible. Yeah, these storms right now are currently in. There's a Wyoming, Ontario. Are you kidding me? Oh, there it is. Yeah, over there near Plimpton. That's such a fun. That's such a fun city name, Plimpton. But yes, these storms are coming towards Wyoming, Ontario. Would crossing Lake Huron cause the storms to strengthen? Um, it can. There's less friction over there. The lakes are usually a little bit cooler, so sometimes it's most of the times it kind of weakens the storms a little bit, but also you got to keep in mind that there's a lot of instability out there as well. So it's usually kind of hard to tell, but there is also less friction out over the lakes. Is a Plimpton? It's a town. Oh wow, look at the camera now here in Ann Arbor. Getting a little bit more interesting. Actually, some leaves starting to fly. But that gust front is now in Ann Arbor. So this is what's coming for southern Detroit. Definitely some stronger winds. Hey, thank you, Brenda, for subscribing. I do appreciate that. I missed my storms at Bay County. Yeah, I was watching them on radar, John, but they warned side lobe contamination, so there was essentially a 0% chance you were going to get a tornado warning on that. So that's why I didn't go live, or a tornado on that. Your NWS made a small mistake, but I was watching it. I promise. If it actually was legitimate rotation, I would have gone live. I was ready. Yeah, definitely some pretty gusty winds over here in Ann Arbor. Getting a little gusty. There's even a little tarp. You can see a tarp back there. It's really doing the wave over there. Is it gonna be bad? Definitely expect some power outages. That's what I would expect. Oh wow, we are getting closer and closer now to 200,000 people without power. Now at 179,000 people without power here in Michigan. That has continued to spread to the east. I'm telling you, we're going to get there as this pushes into the Detroit region, which is a lot of people without power. I mean, it's not like this has been the strongest storm ever, but it seems like y'all's infrastructure, at least power infrastructure, is a little bit weaker than some other areas. Yeah, but 60 to 70 miles per hour can definitely cause some damage, though. So it's not overly surprising, but yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Got really good sleep last night, so I'm happy about that. Waiting for it to hit us in Ypsilanti. Did I say that right? Ypsilanti? How's the water in Flint these days? I think it's still bad, isn't it? Isn't the water still bad in Flint? Thank you, Eero, for subscribing. Welcome, welcome. Glad you found us, and thank you for subscribing. You will now get bugged by constant notifications of me trying to tell you what the weather is going to be like. Welcome. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, this portion of the line is still pretty decently strong there. I would say that's still our stronger portion of the line. Man, look at that camera here. It's really getting gusty over there in Ann Arbor. Look at that. It's not like crazy, crazy, but definitely pretty windy. You can see that rain is starting to pick up. It's going to hold up into Ohio. It is possible that northern Ohio could get some severe weather here. Absolutely. From this southern portion of the line, like Toledo, maybe Cleveland. I thank you, Rebecca, for becoming an EF1 general support member. I do appreciate that. Bacon cures all. My gosh. Baked potato has started a whole trend in chat. It's hilarious. We used to just spam birthday cakes, when people donated. Looks like they have issued a severe thunderstorm warning now for Adrian as well. Adrian, Michigan. That gust front is now entering into northwestern Detroit here. Let's go check some of our other. Wow, it's actually getting a little bit more dicey here in Ann Arbor. Look at that camera shake. It's doing a little dance in the wind. Yeah, it's a low tornado threat. Yep, low tornado threat. I'm not really expecting to see any tornadoes here, just mainly because the shear is relatively weak and a lot of these storms are outflow dominant, but there's definitely a lot of potential here for power outages and tree damage and sometimes a little bit of house damage. I mean, look at these winds. They're definitely enough to knock some power out. Oh, there's people just walking around, just not giving like there's no storm here. It is a college campus, though. There's a small possibility that at least one out of every 10 person you see walking here is drunk or tipsy. What even happened in Flint, Michigan? Just a lot of corruption. Something to do with water company and the government just not really responding to Flint in the appropriate time. It's a lot of stupid things. A lot of stupid things all compiled to people getting sick. Somebody just got a severe thunderstorm warning over here in Missouri. That's going to be for Shelbina and Hunewell here. 60-mile-per-hour winds are going to be possible and hail almost up to an inch. Also, another severe thunderstorm warning has been issued in Wisconsin. Look at this. 60-mile-per-hour winds heading towards Delavan and Elkhorn. Make sure you're indoors and away from windows there. What's up, Mr. Storm? Welcome to the chat. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, the main thing with this storm is, the rain is going to be on and off. It could be a little bit stronger. I mean, it could be a little bit heavier at some points, but the main issue with these storms is the wind and the power outage potential here. I really do want to see if I can get a view of that shelf cloud. This is here in Detroit. Well, we're waiting for the storm here to come into the Detroit area. Still is not there, but you can kind of see those clouds in the distance. That is the tops of that thunderstorm approaching Detroit. Yeah, surprisingly enough, the rain isn't like organized or like it's not really heavy in an organized fashion. It's mainly just a big old windstorm. The fountain, yeah, the fountain's pretty cool. See, most cities they do the circle fountain, but they decided to do a square fountain here in Detroit. I think the wind is calming down a little bit here in Ann Arbor. Still pretty gusty. We are starting to get some power outages in that county. 5,000 power outages where Ann Arbor is located. No, 10,000 power outages, sorry, in the Ann Arbor region. A fountain makes you thirsty? Why? Why would a fountain make you thirsty of all things? Yeah, still 60-mile-per-hour winds on this storm, but radar is indicating this is definitely the highest chance on where you're going to get those 60 to 70-mile-per-hour winds pushing into Sterling Heights and then also Canton, and it's heading towards downtown Detroit. We'll be there shortly. Because it's water? Yeah, but it's fountain water. Do you know what's in fountain water? You know how many people go into a fountain Like walk into the fountain, throw dirty pennies and quarters into a fountain. Like it's basically just a bacteria soup. Oh, Flint water is fixed. That's good. Glad to hear that. Took him a while. How's liver noise doing? Uh-oh. Somebody's autocorrect went a little wild. Illinois is doing all right. Um, but there are some storms about to push into the Quincy, Hannibal region. So watch out there. Definitely could get some hail or some damaging winds with some of these pop-up thunderstorms. Forbidden fountain soup, yeah. Yeah, it looks like Ann Arbor is pretty much is a lot calmer now. Still definitely some gustier winds though on the back side of this. Not nearly as gusty as it was. Some storminess appearing on this camera. Where's this camera again? I think it's in Detroit somewhere. Wasn't that our Detroit skyline view? Yeah, that was our Detroit skyline view, I think. No, this is our Detroit skyline view. There we go. So I'm gonna put the Detroit skyline view first, and then this one second. Wind's picking up again here in Ann Arbor. And then we'll put inside of Detroit. Actually, we'll put inside of Detroit second. How's Yorkville, Illinois looking? Let me check. Yorkville, Illinois. It's a low chance, not impossible though. There is this little boundary here that is firing off some cells there. If this tries to migrate a little bit further to the south, you might see some storms from that, but it's going to be very spotty, so, I wouldn't there is no guarantee that you will either see a storm or not. Hose water is okay as long as it's a new hose. But bacteria can grow into a hose. But, if it's a new hose, then it's basically just tap water, which is fine. Let me see what we got here. We'll put downtown Detroit underneath me. All right, let's give an update here. So looks like yeah, it looks like they did end up upgrading this severe thunderstorm warning to 70 miles per hour. So we still have 70-mile-per-hour winds possible for Macomb Township, Sterling Heights, Warren, Marine City, Columbus, also Brockway, Lexington as well here in Michigan. And then down here in Detroit, we're still talking about 60-mile-per-hour winds as that pushes into the area. We also just got some severe weather warnings for parts of Canada. First areas in Canada that'll probably see the winds will be up here and then over here in this region of Ontario. A new watch is possible in Illinois and Wisconsin. Yeah, I mean, if these storms actually form and do something, it'll be worth watching for them. I don't think there's going to be much of a tornado threat with these guys, but, there could be some hail and some damaging winds with a lot of the storms that can fire in this environment here. It's not completely terrible for severe weather. I do think this one here will probably end up giving us the best view of whatever this storm is going to be looking like. This is looking at Detroit, and it's looking at the storm because it's on the Canadian border looking at Detroit. I wonder if Canada ever has to deal with people like trying to swim across this this little river here. Is it illegal to do that? Like, what are Canada's border laws like? Like, do they care if Americans like illegally enter, or are they pretty nonchalant about it? Why is it not sunny in Detroit? It was sunny in Detroit, but now the clouds are starting to build in because the storm is approaching. You wouldn't want to swim in. Is it that bad? Ooh. Well, doing illegal things is a crime. Yeah, but how do they know? You can just literally swim across there. If there's nobody there, nobody sees. Is it really a crime? uh, I'm joking, of course. But yeah, um, I just don't feel like they would be like. I think they would like put you like detain you and tell you to go back. But I just can't imagine like a Canadian being mad. I don't know. Canadians seem so nice. I just can't imagine them being mad. All right, after Ann Arbor is going to be Milan. So then Detroit and Adrian still. We also just got another severe thunderstorm warning over here for 60-mile-per-hour winds. It's going to be for Jonesville and Hillsdale. So be staying indoors and away from windows with that. Definitely going to have some heavier rain on the southern portion there. And then also Detroit, that area of some stronger winds is about to build in here. Here is the view of Detroit from afar. Still can't see the storm that great there. We are starting to see some clouds move into southern Detroit, or not southern Detroit, like downtown Detroit, but no storm just yet. Hillsdale has always been you're not a criminal unless get caught. I mean, that's technically, theoretically true. Technically speaking, I think that's correct. But like morally speaking, you're probably still technically a criminal. Southwest Ohio will probably not see much out of the storm. It's possible that this could sink that far down to the south. I will say the storm, I think, is defying the models a little bit. Yeah, the latest HRRR doesn't even have these storms this far south. So it could be possible if we still see storms kind of build on the backside here, but your day for severe weather for Ohio will be tomorrow. That's your biggest chance of seeing something in southwestern Ohio. As you can see, we could see some storms build up and around you near Cincinnati, Columbus, Bellefonte by around 6 p.m. tomorrow, and that's going to push off to the east towards into Pennsylvania and exit off into the Atlantic coast there. Can I show radar? Uh, sorry. I mean, everybody wants to see radar, but I mean, it's just so overrated. So instead, all I do is show radar. Radar is the new radar, actually. It's Milan, not like the city of Spain. Okay. Yeah, tomorrow's storms are going to be in Ohio and Pennsylvania. So if you live in those areas, just watch out. Oh, we're getting closer to 200,000 people without power in Michigan. We're now at 192,000 people without power in the Michigan region. They are still creeping off to the east. Radar holes are, yeah, they're horrible. What is a radar? That's a good question. In Grand Blanc, Michigan, still have some power. That's good. That's good. Yeah, some of these areas are kind of spotty with the power outages, but there are a couple areas like Clare County that have over 50% people without power. It seems like kind of the northern, like the middle northern portion of Michigan got hit the hardest with the winds. Yeah, tomorrow's risk is mainly going to be for Ohio, Pennsylvania, going into New Jersey. All right, we'll go over tomorrow in just a little bit more detail. Just real quick, just for the folks that are tuning in, because there's a little bit of overlap in tomorrow's risk and what's happening right now. So here's the outlook for tomorrow. As you can see, there is an elevated chance for severe weather going into parts of Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey as well. The main risk for tomorrow is not going to be tornadoes. It's going to be damaging winds of up to 60 to 70 miles an hour and a low chance for some hail. So again, if you live in like Pittsburgh, Columbus, Cleveland, Philadelphia, parts of New Jersey there, going into Maryland, just make sure that you are weather aware for tomorrow as that approaches. There's no guarantee that it'll happen exactly like it says, but it is possible. So be on the lookout. My goodness. Every time I look at chat, there's bacon in the chat. You got tornado sirens. Those are not tornado sirens. Those are sirens for this considerable severe thunderstorm winds, which can cause some power outages and damage. And those are going to be pushing into Columbus, Marine City, Algoniac, and also Detroit here in a little bit. Monroe and Adrian are going to be after that. 70-mile-per-hour winds further up to the north. For Detroit, 60-mile-per-hour winds is what we're expecting. And further down south, it's also 60-mile-per-hour winds. Power flashes in southeast Michigan right now. That's not surprising. Not surprising at all. Be interesting to see if we see any power flashes on any of these cams in Detroit. Oh, yep, starting to get darker as the storm approaches. Anybody in here from Detroit, Michigan? Algonac. Okay, thank you. And you can see the Canadian flag is blowing pretty hard as well. People in the United States, they really don't like it when they get tree damage, but in Canada, it's a completely different story. When trees fall there, maple syrup squirts out, so you just get a bunch of free maple syrup every time a storm comes by. It's a true story. I'm just kidding. I think it's more of a difficult process than just eating it off the tree, I'm pretty sure. Yes, storms are forming in southeastern Wisconsin. These ones over here near Janesville, pushing off towards Rockford as well, or away from Rockford. Sorry, but in southwestern, it seems like a pretty low chance unless some storms can fire off of this boundary here for Wisconsin. Yeah, we'll see if we can see a shelf cloud as the storm rolls into Michigan, but we might not. Into Detroit, sorry. We might not see one. We might just see some strong winds. Do definitely need to keep an eye on this camera, though, because this is in downtown Detroit. This will definitely give us a good view of what the winds are looking like near the surface. Adrian is under a severe thunderstorm warning. For down the line here. So for Jonesville, Hillsdale, this storm is going to be coming towards you probably within the next 30 to 40 minutes there in Adrian. Yes, it's very illegal to cross that way. Gotcha. They're very strict. Brenda, if you see this in the future, you're behind on the stream. Just refresh the page and you'll be up to current, or you should be, I think. Wisconsin. That's how they say it in Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure that the syrup comes out of the tree and they got to do some fancy stuff to it to make it into maple syrup. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Also, we just got a damage report out of Shelby Township, Michigan. 2 large trees down along Southfield Drive. Also getting some reports of 67 miles per hour there near White Lake, Michigan. And then also more than a dozen trees down. Wow. Between Holly and the Oakland, Genesee County line. That's a lot of trees. Also some damage over there in Lansing from earlier. Road signs blown into roadway. Heavy spruce or healthy spruce trees down as well. One gets free waffles in Alabama. No, it doesn't quite work like that. See, in Alabama, Waffle Houses are immune to damage. That's why they don't ever close them down unless something really bad is happening. Check back in with our cams. Still not seeing a shelf cloud on this guy. Oh, yep. There's the storm from the downtown Detroit camera here. You can see it's getting a little bit darker. There's definitely too many people out and about right now. Different areas in Macomb got hit. We had 2 minutes of wind, no damage. All right, thank you for the report. Glad you guys are all right. Yeah, it's a cool little, it's definitely a cool fountain. It's raining up from the fountain. We've been in Birmingham, Alabama, and despite there being a chemical leak a little bit, we had a Waffle House. Yes. Yep, that's how it works. Waffle Houses just don't close here unless there's like a big old storm. Unless they're just gone. Like if it gets hit by a tornado and it's completely destroyed, then they have to close. But until that happens, I think Waffle Houses stay open in the South all the way up till all the way up to like Category 2 hurricane, something like that. Oh yeah, Vermont maple syrup is amazing. All right, looks like that outer wind band or that outer bit of that outflow boundary is starting to move into Detroit, like downtown Detroit. So we'll see what the winds are like if they're still packing a punch or not. Not a whole lot of rain in this area though. Also further up north, we're still warned here for 70 miles per hour. That's going to be pushing into Marine City and Algonac. Algonic. I think that's what somebody said. Algonic in chat. And then we still have this storm back here that is now going through Hillsdale. And it'll be rolling into Roland here shortly. Down the line, Bedford Township, Toledo, Bowling Green, potentially. Not sure if it'll go that far south. I'm going to check back in with these guys. Yeah, these northern storms are starting to fall apart there. I would really be surprised if there was still quarter-sized hail in that, but this one over north of Marengo is warned for quarter-sized hail. South of Harbor, that's eventually going to try to make its way towards McHenry if it can survive for that long. Over here in Missouri, still seeing some stronger thunderstorms. No rotation. Just potentially up to or just below 1 inch hail, and also 60 mile per hour winds heading towards Palmyra. These things are generally traveling to the north or east. This one's pretty stationary there. Also, we probably will get a severe thunderstorm on this guy near Centerville in a little bit. Wouldn't be surprised if that ended up happening. Over here near Kansas City, some pop-up thunderstorms are still existing in y'all's region. But, no severe weather just yet. A little bit stronger storms back in a little bit further into Kansas, kind of in between Topeka and Hayes, but those really aren't doing too much there. Other than rain and thunder. Cat likes the cursor. Oh my gosh. I replaced the Minnesota. We were tracking Debbie. We were calling it Little Debbie. I forgot to put the Minnesota back. That's what we should do. I'll get a PNG of a red light, like a red dot. So your cat thinks it's or all the cats watching my stream thinks it's a laser pointer. All right. Looks like most of this storm is almost out of Michigan. I mean, honestly, from Detroit. Oh, yeah, you can see the wind starting to pick up here on this camera. Look at that. Big old wind shift there as well. You can see those winds pushing across the little river here. See the waves starting to pick up as well. Just lost power in Oakland County. Okay, thank you so much for that report. Power just went out in Macomb. Uh-oh. Is it coming to New York? It probably won't make it that far, but there's a small chance it does. Yeah, this is just outside of Detroit here, and you can see those winds are certainly picking up. And this is when I expect to see some of those power outages. Yep. We're starting to see the power outages tick up quite a bit here. We now have officially reached 200,000 people without power in Michigan. 200,000. That's a lot of folks without power. And we're probably going to continue to see this as it pushes off to the east. So we're probably going to see those power outages start to uptick in Ontario next for areas like Plympton, London, St. Thomas, Chatham, Kent as well. I want to figure out how I can control this music a little bit better. May do some. I want my music back, dang it. I just don't know where I'm having like a volume issue on it. Let me try doing this. We'll do this. What if we do window capture? Will that work? I guess I could just put it all the way down. Just have it in the background. Now, what happens? Can I make this a separate audio source? I cannot. Okay, so that's not a good method. Let's try application audio capture. Window, media player. Okay. Now let's try this. That still comes through the desktop audio, though. The heck? That's annoying. All right. We'll mess around with that in just a little bit. This is a little OBS issue here. Looks like that rain is going to start happening over here, east of Canton towards Taylor, Berlin, Monroe, and Bedford Township. Here, that's probably where the heaviest rain is going to be on the southern portion of this. We do have some bouts, though, of some stronger rain north of that, but still dealing with those 70-mile-per-hour winds, probably about to start moving into Canada itself here. This is in downtown Detroit here. Winds are definitely gusting a bit. Not really that strong. You can really see the wind well on the river here. You can definitely see that there is some rain around there. Elevator music, exactly. We need our elevator music back. But of course, I run into some issues as soon as I try to use it. All right, properties. Okay, that. So what if I play this and then mute it? It goes completely gone. Desktop audio properties. Oh no. It should separate from desktop audio, but it doesn't. I'll have to mess around with it off screen, off stream here. But yeah, most of these areas. Oh, looks like they did upgrade this one for Detroit to up to 70 miles per hour. Are we still dealing with 60-mile-per-hour winds down here? Yeah. Yeah, 70-mile-per-hour winds now possible in Detroit. We're trying to find them here on the view here in Detroit, downtown Detroit. Oh, did we lose power? The cam went down, which sometimes is an indication that power went out. Nope, it's still going. Just really not seeing that strong of winds, at least where this camera is located. Where this one's located, definitely have some stronger winds moving across the river there, but you can look at the trees. It's not really that strong. So that gust of wind must have already came through, that one that we were watching just a little while ago. So we'll watch this camera. Oh my gosh. Wait, really? Yeah, so Ann Arbor's well behind. Is this right? Is this still live? Let me do a refresh here. Not sure if I believe all this. And that was behind. Just had to make sure. I was like, I don't think y'all are still dealing with that much wind. Well, I track tropical storms. Yeah, I do track tropical storms. And in fact, once we start to get a break, which we will in a second, we'll probably talk about some of the tropical weather out there eventually. Do I have a mixing board? I do not. I have a mixing board within the app, but I don't know how to separate it because there's desktop audio and then there is app audio. And the desktop audio relays things that are happening within the OBS itself, and then the application audio captures directly from the application. But there's like this weird volume issue where I open up the app and then it's louder than it was the last time I opened it, even though I didn't change any settings. I think it's some weird quirk with Windows. Yeah, that main gust front should be almost done in the Detroit area. Still some stronger winds approaching Monroe and Bedford Township, Adrian as well. But a lot of this weather is starting to move into the Canada now. Well, I tracked Tropical Storm Barrel. I did, but that storm is long gone. Keep those tropical storms away from the East Coast. Yeah, I'm not worried about any United States impacts like at all. This storm's looking pretty beefy now. Ping pong ball sized tail popping up with this storm in northern Illinois, heading towards Woodstock and McHenry. What about Wayne County? What about Wayne County? Let me see. Wayne County. So that's south and east of Canton in this county. Yeah, so still some heavy wind and rain is possible. Where's this camera located? The heck? This is a nice view. This is near Detroit. Look at this. What app am I using for music? Just the media player. Unwarned tornado in Whiteman. Whitman. In Nebraska? Yeah. Yeah, that was the one the NWS messed up on and didn't warn it when it was obvious that there was a actually large tornado on the ground. It was the first time where I was like, okay, this needs a PDS warrant. This needs a PDS tornado warning. And there wasn't even a tornado warning on it at all. Yeah, that one was hefty. This is a great camera here. Look at that. This is the Dosen Museum in Detroit. You control the volume. Well, no matter what I do, yeah. I mean, that's just really expensive to do all that. So can't really do that. Still too small of a channel to really do anything too big yet. I can barely afford storm chasers and paying the mods and all that kind of stuff and still be able to survive, so. Unfortunately, we gotta keep things on the low side of the budget, or I will starve to death. Can I use webcam taxi? Sometimes, yeah. It depends on what kind of camera it is. If it's like a tourist camera, I don't know. I don't really know too much about their terms of service. I probably would avoid them if I could. Oh, look at that really nice view of a pole down there below me. Potential of hitting Toronto. Yeah, I could definitely get some stronger storms in Toronto as this pushes off to the east, definitely. London, Hamilton, Toronto will all be in the path. Chatham, Kent, Plimpton in Wyoming, St. Thomas, Kitchener as well. You'd mod for free? Yeah, well, I wouldn't allow that. What's for dinner? I don't know. Tomato soup. I'm still on a on a restricted diet because of my stomach issues. So tomato soup, maybe some Parmesan cheese, some a little bit of pepper, not enough to hurt. I appreciate that sauce. Yeah, we try to keep it, talk about the storms, but also have a little bit of a light side. Usually we have music, but it's just not working today, unfortunately. I mean, it is working. I could play it, but it's just too loud. Like if I put it on one volume, that's how loud it is. On one volume. Wait, no, I can bring it down just a, like that was two. This is volume on one. Which is still, I think, a little bit too loud. But like, if I can't do that, and I don't want to change my desktop audio level because it's tuned for storm chasers and um and also storm chasers and also my warning system, so I don't want to change that volume on the knob. And he's got a new severe thunderstorm warning, considerable severe thunderstorm warning for golf ball sized hail near Woodstock, McHenry, and Algonquin. Storm is definitely packing a punch for that hail. Looks like that main hail core is here for Illinois, and that's going to be moving towards Woodstock here. So you guys will probably get the brunt of that big hail. So watch out. That's large enough to actually cause a little bit of damage there. Also getting some bigger hail with this storm over here in northern Missouri, going into Lancaster and Queen City. Got half-dollar sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and we got a cluster of severe thunderstorms still existing, not really moving too quickly here near Monroe City, Palmyra, and Hannibal. Very slow-moving storms. Other places of the country, not seeing anything. So it's mainly just those storms and then this one up here. Tracking the Detroit storm. Yep. Just heavier rain right now. Most of the stronger winds should be done. This is a view of Detroit from the Canadian border. This is how Canadians see Detroit. Still rainy here in downtown Detroit. And this is just outside of Detroit. And then this is kind of that shelf cloud pushing off into Canada from the other side of the lake. So this is Detroit looking at Canada. And here's Ann Arbor, who got some stronger winds earlier. Any risk for tornado or hail? No. And that if there was going to be anything spin up, it's way past you. But there just hasn't really been much rotation on any of these storms. You know, funny enough, there's a little bit of something here, but it's very weak circulation and out on the outflow boundary of the storm heading into Essex. That's going into Canada. Hey, thank you, Lady J, for the $20. It says to help pay the beautiful mods. All. Thank you. You appreciate what I'm doing? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I wanted to come on here to do a forecast, and I was like, usually I do my forecast at like 5 or 6, but we already had severe weather going, so I just did the forecast and the coverage at the same time. I think that's worked out pretty well. People come in with questions, and I answered them. So generally, if you're using YouTube for your weather information, you know, I'm here. Typically, we wouldn't cover stuff like this, to be honest. You know, just because it's a little bit on the weaker side. I usually like to go live for stronger events, but you know, and that's mainly during storm season. But given the fact that we are in the down period of severe weather, I probably will be covering smaller risks, because what ends up happening during storm season is we go live for like 9, 10, 11 hours over a big outbreak, and then the next day we have another outbreak, and then the next day we have another outbreak, and then I usually use days like this to take a break in those very busy times. But when it's really quiet out, and then we get these like little, you know, little small mesoscale convective systems kind of move into the area. I go live a lot more during those down times, just because I have a lot of energy. You know, if I wasn't doing this, I'd just be sitting on my hands not doing anything with plenty of energy. So you know, just don't expect this kind of coverage for this kind of storm if we're in peak storm season, because these are usually the kind of days I would use to take off. But yeah, given the fact that it's been so quiet, we got plenty of energy, so why not? What about Wayne later on tonight? I don't know where Wayne is. Is that what is that? Where is that exactly? Sorry, I meant to change that below me. I want to get that Canadian view up. There we go. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm messing around with the green screen here. Just to see if I can implement it in a way that's unique. Where's the music? It's too loud for some reason. It's too loud. So yeah, most of the storms and the rain is now moved out of Detroit into Canada. But now for Monroe in Slovenia, still got some storms coming your way. 60-mile-per-hour winds should be expected with those. And that will eventually try to move into areas like Toledo, and then eventually into areas like Cleveland and Lorraine. Sit on your hands, yeah. You just storm here, it's blazing, yeah. Yeah, the temperatures, like, in this region, let's turn on the temperatures here. I think they're, like, really hot still for some folks. Actually, we'll pull up the detailed display here so we can see the dew points, because that's important. Temperature and the dew point, determining what it feels like. Yeah, 77 degrees or 76-degree dew point. I got 77, 96. Let me bring up the heat index calculator. Let's see here. Dew points, that would be 96 over 77. 100. It's still 111 degrees. heat index near Juliet, near Chicago. That's hot. Dang, Bloomington, you guys have 80 degree dew points. That's 93 over 80. That's 112 heat index. So it's 112 heat index there in Bloomington right now. That is miserable. Oh my gosh, look at over here in Galesburg. 94 over 83. That's going to be hot. Okay, if that's real, we're talking about 120 degree heat index. 120 degrees in Galesburg if this is not a faulty reading. That is wild. I feel so bad for you guys. That is not good. Where's the storm going exactly? This thing latches onto this boundary. Could get an elevated tornado threat from it. Now that I think about it. This thing starts to move down like this. We might see this try to do the tornado dance. But if it continues off like this, it might briefly latch onto it, maybe try to rotate. I mean, it probably won't be too big of an issue, but if it does a movement kind of like this, and then that mesocyclone latches onto this boundary, we might have to watch out for like a really isolated tornado threat with this storm. I'll be keeping my eye on it. Only one eye, though. I'd rather be 121 degrees without a heat index or like in dry conditions than I would in that high humidity. The high humidity just like it's almost suffocating, especially when it's like 120 degree heat index. Absolutely not. Update here from Monroe and Bedford Township. 60-mile-per-hour winds still with that one. Jeez Louise, look at that big old uptick. We just passed 200,000 and now we're making our way to 300,000 people without power here in Michigan. That went up almost 100,000 customers in like the last 20 minutes. So yeah, as that storm moved through Detroit, it knocked out a lot of power for a lot of folks. Yeah, humidity is horrible. You start sweating, your shirt like instantly gets wet. There's that outflow boundary right here. Oops, drew that wrong. You can see it on the velocities. We got this part of the storm, so we'll see what it does when it latches onto it. But if it's just a brief latch, then it should be fine. Tornado dance, is that like the cyclone? No, it's just like the storm is going to try to rotate, whether or not it actually puts out a tornado is the dance part of it, It's dancing with danger. A lot of storms will rotate and just never do anything. Most of them do that, unless you are in like a very tornadic environment, but this is not really a tornado or tornadic environment, so it would do more of a dance before it actually produces anything. You had the tornado warning yesterday? Yeah. That one was in South Dakota, I think. Yeah. You're sweating. Yeah. Well, the good news is that behind these storms, it's pretty good. Where we see a big problem with power outages and heat is with like tropical systems. Sometimes you'll get big old power outages and it takes forever to get that power back on. And the heat builds up with that added humidity from all that moisture that the tropical system brought in. And then you can get some big heat problems. But yeah, I mean, usually when you get a big old storm, it stays cool. But if you get that big storm in the earlier portions of the day, then yeah, it could definitely reheat back up with a little bit more humidity. Just keeping an eye on that guy there just in case it tries to do something a little bit surprising. We'll do a little bit of a zoomed out view for everybody watching. Where's everybody watching from, by the way? Supposed to be in the 90s tomorrow in Michigan. Oof. What about Port Austin? Isn't that in Michigan? I swear, yeah. Port Austin is fine for the rest of the day. Still going to be a little bit gusty back there, but you'll be all right. We got Oklahoma, Michigan, Toronto, Massachusetts, Arizona. Interesting. Crete, Illinois, Juliet, Novi, Windsor. Oh, we got a lot of people from Canada in here. Interesting. Kansas. You're on vacation in Nova Scotia. Gotcha. Baked potatoes from Bacon Town. Not surprising. The gust front is just about here. Yeah, it's getting close. See, there's that leading edge of the gust front that's eventually going to pull into Savannah and Toledo here shortly. Cool thing about this national radar is you can kind of back it up and it looks like a model run, but it's like what really happened. So you can see these storms started off in eastern or western Michigan and then pushed down to the south and east. Then we're getting these little storms kind of pop up on this little kind of stationary boundary here. It's causing just enough forcing for thunderstorms to form in some areas of some pretty high instability. And then we got a little bit of a larger scale system kind of pushing off over here to the east. And we got a lot of thunderstorm activity down here near the Texas, Houston area, just to the west or to the east of Austin. These guys really aren't going to do much. We're not expecting any severe weather, but you might get some thunder here and there. Also, a lot of thunderstorms over here in parts of Florida. You can see, like, when you zoom out, there's really not too much going on for most of the country. Actually, a lot of folks are really dry. Our next little storm system that we're going to be watching is actually back here, and eventually this guy is going to kind of move in like this, bring in some severe weather for areas like Iowa and Minnesota again. South Dakota here. Gotcha. Well, welcome, guys. I'm glad you're here. Feel free to subscribe while you're here if you want coverage like this in the future. Let's see here. It started raining, but quiet all of a sudden. Yeah, that's what it's going to be like with this storm. You'll get those big old wind gusts, and then after that's done, after that, like after you're pretty much past just the leading edge of this storm, it's going to be done. Like here's, we were watching this camera not too long ago, and we could see the winds really pushing across the river, and the flag was going a little crazy. But then now look, it's nice and calm, but a lot of people are losing powers, are not losing power, but have lost power. Thankfully, we might not see this pass over 300,000 people. I should report for Ontario, Canada. I've considered it. There's a lot of people that live in Ontario. And during these downtimes, if you have questions, just make sure you put your area and make sure you clarify that you are in Canada. And we would definitely answer your questions because it's not like we're covering tornado warnings. We don't have to hyper focus on any of these storms too big or too much because, like, if I say, hey, this severe thunderstorm was coming with 60-mile-per-hour winds in Bedford Townships, and you need to be indoors and away from windows, then that's all you got to do. You can just sit there, continue to watch this or watch something else, Netflix, and wait for the storm to come through. I don't need to give you updates every second because once the storm starts, you're going to know it's there. And then once it stops, you're going to know it's over. It would be different if we had like a bunch of storms maybe potentially coming in after this, but this is only just like a singular line of storms. And it's actually going to be a pretty brief event, nothing more than like 20 to 30 minutes. Believe it or not, we got hurricane force winds happen over here in Roseville, Michigan. Look at that. That's pretty strong. Pretty strong, almost significant winds there. Thank you, Lisa Daly, for being an EF1 support member for 15 months. Holy crap. 109 in Las Vegas feels way better than 95 in Louisiana. Yes. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. That humidity just gets you, man. It'll get you. Because it just feels so terrible. So are we gonna? So are we going to get a tornado warning tomorrow or morning? The chances for tornadoes are the highest over here tomorrow. I wouldn't even be surprised if we got like a little 5% over here. It does seem like if everything goes right, definitely could have some nice structure with some storms out here, but it's more of like, thankfully this area is not super populated. There could be a tornado. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a tornado warning over there, but I'm not expecting to see tornado warnings really anywhere else in the country other than like in South and North Dakota. I might cover that event maybe. Trained spotter reports golf ball and Woodstock. Yeah. So we're still getting reports of golf ball sized hail with this storm. That's going to be going towards areas like McHenry next. Let me check the high definition radar here. Yeah, it seems like that main bit of hail is back up in here. It does seem like this storm is interacting with this little boundary a little bit. Let me see where we're reviewing this from. So the radar's up there. Wind's going towards, wind's going away. Wind's going away, wind's going towards. Yeah, that area, if any, there is a little area of some weak circulation here. It's just not strong enough yet to concern me. They're in northern Illinois. Which way is this thing going now? We don't want to see this thing dive southwest. As long as it keeps going east, I think its tornado risk will elevate as it latches onto this boundary for like maybe a scan or two, and then it should die off. But if we saw this thing take a turn like this, it would have an elevated tornado threat as long as it rode that boundary. So it would be like a good hour or so where it would have potential for a tornado. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on it just in case. Yeah. Dive southeast here all of a sudden. Yeah, well, that's why we're keeping an eye on it. With storms like that, slow-moving storms, especially in this kind of environment, the instability is out in front of the storm like that. So, it has a higher probability to take that southeastern turn. But it just really depends on when it does that. If it does it afterwards, after that little boundary, because the sheer environment just isn't super favorable for this storm to be able to produce a tornado by itself. It needs some help from that boundary. And the amount of time that it latches onto it is going to be very important in determining on whether or not this thing is even going to be able to try to rotate any more than what it is right now. Yeah, Toledo is in the path. No severe thunderstorm warning just yet, but the line of storms is approaching. It looks like it's about 16 miles away from you. Let's see how fast these storms are moving. So we have to go to this to see the details here. It's moving at 40 miles per hour, so within 30 minutes it should be there. For Canada in Ontario, next people in line are Chatham and Kent, Dresden, Seaford. If I had to guess, we still have 60 to 70 mile per hour winds along this entire line. Probably within the next 30 to 40 minutes, London, St. Thomas are going to be in the path, and you guys are all under a severe thunderstorm warning, so you should already be making your way indoors if you're not already. Just be indoors and away from windows. Toledo? No way. It's Toledo. Right? I thought it was always Toledo. Just get a severe thunderstorm watch? Let me check for that. Yeah, we did. Let me get the official details on that. 1 second. It hasn't popped up on my app yet. Sometimes it takes a little bit, but we can get that official information quicker. Yeah, severe thunderstorm watch has been issued for parts of Ohio and Pennsylvania. That's going to be Toledo, Findlay, Sandusky, Cleveland, Ashtabula, Erie, and Corey there in Pennsylvania and Ohio. So if you guys live in this area, expect isolated hail of up to quarter size being possible, scattered gusts of up to 70 miles per hour possible, and frequent lightning is also possible. A population of 3 million people are in this severe thunderstorm watch. It's Toledo. Okay. Winds back down and rains. Yeah. Yeah, winds should be like for most of the thumb of Michigan, the wind should be dying down for a lot of folks. It's only in like the base of the palm of Michigan, where we still have some severe weather possible of up to 60 miles per hour, and that's going to be moving into Toledo. I would not be surprised if they extend the severe thunderstorm warning. I do want to see what the details were for this watch, for the Chicago region said. Probably just large hail. Yeah. So we do have a chance, if this thing does go southwest here in Chicago, of producing up to 2-inch sized hail, scattered gusts of up to 75 miles per hour possible, and also frequent lightning possible. With this, that would include parts of Wisconsin, Elkhorn, Rockford, DeKalb, Peru, Streator, Morris, Kankakee, and also just to the west of Michigan City. And that is with this storm. It even has a tornado possible tag on it now, but that means nothing without rotation. Again, why it is possible is because this thing is latching on to a boundary here. And if it does successfully latch onto that, it could potentially try to produce a tornado. But right now, seeing zero indication of rotation getting started on this thing, so I'm not concerned about a tornado in the immediate time frame. One thing I do want to do though is kind of bring this back, just kind of see how the storm has gone. Yeah, it does kind of seem to be pushing down a little bit to the south and east. You see it started off going just east, and now it's going a little bit more south and east. So it looks like it's going to want to ride that boundary. So we'll see. We'll see what it ends up doing. I might try to find some cams on that. There's not really good cams, though, unfortunately, in Illinois, where the storm is. There is one near Fox Lake. Let me see what it's looking like at Fox Lake. Hold on. Fox Lake, Illinois. What cam? I guess there's supposed to be one. I can't locate it, though. And the traffic cam, traffic cams are absolutely horrible in Illinois. It's got another considerable severe thunderstorm warning. Where is that for? Yeah, so it looks like we're starting to get some golf ball sized hail now, also in Missouri. That's going to be for this storm over here near Queen City, south of Lancaster, and this one over here near Rutledge, going up towards Wayakonda. But yeah, definitely in a radar hole here. Hard to tell. But there's no rotation on these guys. So mainly just talking about big hail here, golf ball sized hail in northeastern Missouri. That'll try to track into western Illinois here in a little bit. Yeah, mainly just strong winds with this storm and hail near Algonquin. Still not seeing any indications of no indications that this storm is getting any more organized, at least in terms of its rotation. But we're watching it because there's a lot of folks that live here north of Evanston. Let me see. I'm looking for another webcam. There's just not a whole lot of webcams in this area. There was supposed to be one near Fox Lake, but I'm not able to locate it at the moment. Maybe they don't have a camera anymore. I don't know. You're in Fredericton, no weather of any kind recently, just hot and sunny for days. Yeah, it's been really hot there for a lot of folks. I'm gonna try searching YouTube because my map is telling me that there is a camera in Fox Lake. But yeah, that's about it. I have not been able to locate it, so I don't think we'll be able to get eyes on the storm unless there's somebody chasing it. 70-mile-per-hour winds in southern Lake County, Illinois. Oh yeah, yeah. It looks like they did downgrade the hail on this storm, but they have upticked those severe winds. So that's going to be for south of Round Lake Beach, Beach. Jeez Louise. Round Lake Beach and North Chicago are in a warning for 70-mile-per-hour winds. That is also including areas like Vernon Hills, Highland Park, Lake Forest, and Lake Zurich. And surely there is a camera here that we can use. All right, maybe Evanston. Can I find one in Evanston? It's looking north. It would have to be looking north. There's one that is looking at a rock. Okay. In Evanston. There's one that's looking out over the beach, so we might be able to see this thing after it pushes out over the shore, which would be better than nothing, technically. So we'll lock this camera in here, at the very least. This is the only one I've been able to find so far anywhere near this storm. Hey, Silly Bees, welcome. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully all is well. Yeah, we should be able to see that storm after it exits the coast, but I want to find one before that, if I can. It's going to cause a little bit more searching. Let's see. All right, first one is going to be Highland Park. Just give me a moment. I got to try to find some. I'll keep my eye. What do those boxes mean around McHenry? That is a severe thunderstorm warning for half-dollar sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that's going to be falling on you pretty much right now. So continue to be indoors and away from windows there. All right, come on. Highland Park webcam. Come on. Give me some. There's a zoo in Highland Park. Okay. Um, Highland Park, Shepherd Park, live webcam. Yeah, that's not. We'll see. Check on the rotation on this thing. Oh, it's actually developing some rotation. A little bit of rotation there as it latches onto this boundary. It is actually trying to latch onto the boundary now, and that is actually causing subtle rotation. It's not a lot. There is some rotation there. Okay, I found a camera in Highland Park that is in a dog in a dog playroom inside, and there's no dogs. We would use that cam if there were dogs, I promise. There is a little bit of rotation on this thing. Again, what we're watching for is this thing to latch onto a boundary here. And if it does so and starts to rotate more than what it is, then we're actually going to become concerned for a tornado. But as of right now, the rotation's still on the weaker end of the spectrum. But as long as it's riding this outflow or this little boundary here, that's gonna what it's basically gonna do is it just increase the spin of the storm. Now, its ability to increase that spin is still to be determined. Let's see here. We'll try, I think Arlington Heights might not be a bad place to search for a webcam. Arlington Heights webcam. There is a Earth Cam one in Chicago, but we can't use Earth Cam. Okay, well, Arlington Heights is a dead end. But yeah, the strongest winds in hail with this storm exist pretty much in this region of the storm right now. And it's slowly traveling towards the east, towards Mundelein, Vernon Hills, Lake Zurich. Yeah, that little area of rotation has pretty much just completely vanished there. But we still got to watch out for that possibility. As it does seem like this thing is definitely traveling a little to the south and east. So as long as it's latched onto this boundary, which probably won't be for too much longer, it's going to try to be some sort of it's going to try to become tornadic. But if there's just not enough, if it doesn't help the storm enough in terms of increasing that spin, then it just won't produce. Let me try Waukegan, Illinois next. Webcam, it'll probably be facing uh, wrong way. Okay, there is a webcam in Waukegan, but it's not looking at anything. That's promising. I think that's the only one. Yeah, the only one is at Waukegan Harbor. Let me see if they have any other cameras on their website. Yeah, all they have is one. I'll watch it. It does pan around a little bit. I'll watch it to see if it actually gets a view of the storm at all. If it does, we'll use it, but I'm not seeing anything on it. I think it's facing the wrong way. See clouds coming over? Yeah. Yeah, this storm is definitely packing a punch in terms of those winds as well. Kind of similar to what we had here in Michigan. We had 70 mile per hour winds with those, and it caused a decent amount of power outages. So we'll probably start to see those power outages uptick here with this storm, as well as this one also has that potential to produce 70 mile per hour winds. Yeah, I have cameras near like Lake Geneva, but that's too far north. And there are so many cameras, like traffic cameras, in this region. Oh, Okay. Well, there's the storm. We at least got a picture of it. There it is. That's what it looks like. What happens if we refresh? Yeah. We do have picture cams in this area. You can see there's that mesocyclone right in there. Move this down a little bit so you guys can see it better. Let me see if there's like a better. Go. Okay. So where would be the best place? I think like Algonquin. If I can find it on this dang map. Where's McHenry? Okay, there's Fox Lake. There. About like here. See, the problem is that I can't click on that fast enough. So we have to do this really drawn out process where I have to copy and paste. Oh, wow. It's not a bad view. And we need to get a little bit farther away from that, though. You see big old rain there. There's a 549. Those aren't live, though. I don't think we'll be able to get live footage here. So that was up here. Let's try going a little bit further away. See what that looks like. This camera's just broken. We'll go back to the radar in a bit, folks. I just want to see if I can get a little bit better of a view of this thing. I mean, because there's just cameras galore in this region. Yeah, that one's looking too far. Okay, so we'll do a little update here, and we'll go back to one of those cameras and just watch it every update, I guess. But yeah, so here is the storm. Again, severe warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds, which can cause damage and power outages. So continue to be indoors and away from windows there in Round Lake Beach, Mundelein, Vernon Hills, Lake Zurich, also Highland Park as well. Yeah, I mean it's not the strongest storm ever. You know, in terms of the velocities, that storm relative velocities on this storm are starting to kind of calm down. So that's good. We're not really seeing any more stronger rotation with this thing. You know, there was a brief moment where there was a tiny bit of rotation, but the main threat with this is 70-mile-per-hour winds and half-dollar size hail. So it's definitely a storm you don't want to be outside for. But other than that, you know, I'm not overly concerned. As long as you're indoors and away from windows, you will be okay from this storm, I promise. Still trying to find a good camera. Oh, wow. You can actually see something on the top right here. Just the base of the storm on that one. I'm just trying to find the best view for you guys. So I have to do all this work copying and pasting and pasting and copying. Try to find the best camera. But we do have this one that's underneath me. That is going to be able to see the storm from Evanston after it comes through this region. So we are going to be able to see it on this camera. We do have one that's semi going to at least be able to get a view on it. And I'm not sure if we're actually going to be in the path of it, though. I forgot where that other camera was. That one with a really good view of the storm. Forgot where it was located. All right, so this little squiggly road here. Can I find that on the map? Is that one? No. This would be like down here near Lake Zurich. We also just got an expansion of this with the tornado possible. That's going to be for Arlington Heights, Evanston, and Chicago, downtown Chicago, are now in the path of these 70-mile-per-hour winds. So make sure that you guys are indoors and away from windows as this thing is approaching. It does seem like it might try to take a little bit more of a southeasterly path, but those winds are going to be mainly rain free the further south that you go. You see, there's that outflow boundary. There's that gust front. That's going to be pushing down to the south and east towards areas like Chicago and Evanston, and that will cause some elevated winds, potentially up to 70 miles per hour. I cannot find, there's so many cams in this region. I cannot find that other one to save my life. Hey, here's the base of the mesocyclone here. You see the rain on the right side. There's the base of the mesocyclone. This is looking west from US 12, Illinois 22. Kind of see it there. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't find any really good cams in this region. Trying to find like a better website for this. One that is easier to navigate. What about Detroit? Detroit's good to go. You guys are done for today. The next people that are going to be in the path of these storms are going to be areas like Ontario, and then also we got a new severe thunderstorm warning here for Fremont, Port Clinton, Sandusky. I'm surprised there's not one yet for Toledo, but yeah, some stronger storms are coming through. Just make sure you're indoors and away from windows there. Really having trouble with these dang cameras. Like I have some in Evanston, which should be good. We'll definitely be able to see it there. I just really wish I had one that was like the same kind of thing that I'm looking at, but one that I can just click and it shows up. Because doing it this way, the way that I'm doing it right now is super annoying. It's taking forever, and I'm getting a little bit too distracted. So I'm probably gonna give up, to be honest. Looking for this dang thing. I'm over it. This is taking too much time. Green on the map, does that mean it's raining? Not necessarily. This right here is an outflow boundary. There's probably not too much rain there. The main area that we're watching out for is this, this yellow, red, and pink that is going to be kind of pushing down to the south and east. And then also we're watching this little area of green here. That's a gust front that is pushing down into Arlington Heights. And eventually we'll try to push into Evanston with up to 70-mile-per-hour winds being possible with that. But in terms of rotation, we're not seeing anything, thankfully. But, damaging winds, power outages are certainly going to be possible. And in fact, I'm curious to see if we're getting any uptick in power outages. Yeah, we have 79 people without power in McHenry, but that's about it associated with this storm. Also, actually, we also have 1,615 people without power in Cook County as well. So the power outages are starting to uptake a little bit, but I'm not sure if that's due to the fact that we've had such intense heat up here, or if it's due to the fact that we've had those winds kind of already start in these areas. Yeah, at the very least, this camera underneath me should be able to see the storm at some point. This one right here. It's facing out over the bay. You can actually already see the tops of the storm over there. Hey, Zaben Nation, welcome. But yeah, once this thing moves out from land over the coast, we should be able to see this from Evanston. We'll also be able to see how strong winds are in this little gust front here that's warned for 70 miles per hour. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Anne Marie. We've worked really hard on this channel to build and huge shout out to Blondie because she was the first one. The first kind of peeps that you attract to your channel kind of build the community after that, right? And it could just be my personality because we're trying to make this a calm weather channel instead of one that's gonna freak you out all the time. We're trying to change the dynamic because a lot of people, that's like their whole thing, is they just try to scare you into caring about the weather. Here we just kind of give you the facts and let you do what you want with it. We try to keep you calm. Usually we have calming music playing, but fortunately it's not cooperating for this stream. But I'll fix it by the time we get to the next one. But yeah, we work really hard to try to make or keep the community as as chill as possible. And that's mainly Blondie. She was the first mod on this channel, and she really built she modded, I guess you could say, her rules at the beginning of this channel was what kept it so so chill. But yeah, Evanston, there's actually a little storm popping up there near Evanston. I wonder if that's what we're seeing here on this camera. I don't think so. That looks like a pretty big anvil there. So yeah, we have no tolerance for meanies here. No tolerance whatsoever. Our ants are short. Let's go back over here to Missouri. Yeah, still not seeing any dangerous rotation over here. 60-mile-per-hour winds on all these guys, and main story with these guys is big hail. I mean, we got golf ball sized hail. That's going to be enough to maybe put some dents in your car. Definitely, the 60-mile-per-hour winds could potentially cause some issues there with some power outages, maybe some tree limbs down. So I would certainly be indoors with those storms still. But I mean, they're really not moving too much at all. So, if you live near Kirksville, you'll probably get the storm in a little bit, but it might not even be the same intensity by the time it gets there. These storms really shouldn't last too long, but flooding issues could also be a concern with these as they're slow moving and heavy rain. Also, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for southern Kansas City here, and that's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds. We've already gotten a damage report here, a 5-inch limb from a healthy Bradford pear tree. Oh no, not the pears, man. Hopefully the tree survives and it can produce more pears in the future. But a little branch fell off on it. No, there's no tornadoes right now. There's not even a storm that even looks like it could produce a tornado. We're not expecting any tornadoes to happen today. It was a low chance and just didn't confirm. So that's good. Mainly we're live here to just cover mainly damaging winds, like what happened over here in Michigan, where we had 336,000 power outages. So we've officially made it over that 300,000 mark here. Pretty significant wind event there. Anna Moore says, well, thank you, by the way, for being a member for 5 months. But she says, power just went out in Wolf City. Will you check in on me? Yeah, absolutely. What's going on over there? Oh, yeah. A little bit of a pop-up thunderstorm. And it's not necessarily a weak storm. Got some pink showing up there, some elevated DBZs, so you might have gotten a little wind gust there that knocked out the power, but I promise you will survive. It's just kind of a little pop-up thunderstorm. Definitely, might get some gustier winds. You will probably hear some thunder and lightning. You could probably see that towering cumulus nearby. You'll be all right, I promise. This might be forming into a supercell. Not really. Well, I need to take that back. Well, for most of the scans, we haven't been seeing any rotation, but there's a little something on this last scan, literally the very last scan. A little area of rotation popping up back in there. But I think that's anticyclonic. Let me just double check. Yeah, that's anticyclonic. So this is moving towards, this is moving away, anticyclonic. Typically, those don't turn into tornadoes. The area of rotation that would be cyclonic would be on this side. And there is a little bit of precipitation wrapping around in there. It's just very broad and weak circulation right now. But this right here is anticyclonic. It is rotating. Let's check this radar, see what it says. Yeah, this radar is also picking that up. Anticyclonic and some broad circulation on this side. So both radars are saying that there is some broad circulation developing. So I guess you could call it a supercell at this point. Supercells are thunderstorms with rotating updrafts, so you need that rotation. And it does have a little bit, so technically, yeah. I was looking tonight for Chicago, where this should be the main storm for the Chicago region. So nothing really after this. What about Romeoville, Illinois? Let me see where that. I think isn't that like down over here? Let me double check. Okay, south. Yeah, you should be good to go. Although you might get this gust front if it can make it that far south. Not sure if it'll still be packing those 70-mile-per-hour winds at that time, but so we're starting to see that little rain from that tiny little thunderstorm near Evanston. I do believe we're going to get a pretty good view on this storm. This one that's severe warned after it like starts to make it out over the Great Lake here. I think this is Lake Michigan. Yeah, Lake Michigan. We're starting to see that rain from that storm. You can see the cloud tops from the bigger severe thunderstorm warning storm over here. So we're keeping an eye on that. But yeah, that's in Evanston. So it is facing towards the storm because you can see the anvil there. So we will see that. It's just going to take a while. It is going to take a while. But that gust front is approaching. That's going to probably be the first thing that we monitor is just how strong the winds are with this gust front as it approaches the camera there in Evanston. You're scared? Don't be scared. I'm just kidding. Do whatever you want. Feel however you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Just try not to panic. That's where you're going to screw yourself over. I think it's okay to fear a storm. Storms are inherently a little bit scary. They cause conditions that, but I can tell you right now, as long as you are listen to me and be indoors and away from windows, you will be okay. You will be okay. If you live near a big tree, that would be closer to the more interior portion of your house. And on the lowest floor, at the very least, of the lowest floor of your house, just in case that tree falls over on your house. That's a very low probability scenario, but it can still technically happen. It's just very low probability, so just keep that in mind. Don't think that it's going to happen. Just be prepared if it does. It has not been silent for more than 10 minutes. It's a consistent roar. Interesting. Should you be scared of the heat that you had? I mean, definitely respect it. We were looking at the temperatures earlier in this area. I mean, we have heat indexes still in this area of up over 110. degrees. And we even saw, I forget where it was exactly, but we saw a temperature, I think it was in Bloomington, of 120 degrees Fahrenheit with that heat index. I'm not sure if that's going to verify or not, but and we've had reports over here in the Chicago region earlier today that those heat indexes got up to 119 degrees Fahrenheit, which, and with this much humidity, you're talking about deadly heat. If you stay out there for too long, don't drink enough water, you could easily die from heat that high. So, especially when you have higher humidity, higher dew points, what happens is you're at a certain temperature, your body stops producing sweat, which is the way that your body naturally cools down, and that also will affect your ability to cool down. So, which will lower the amount of time you'll be able to be outside. So, I would just stay indoors today, and hope you get some rain or some of this cooler air. The good news about this boundary, even though it's probably going to have some elevated winds with it, potentially to cause power outages with it. The good news is that this line is an indication of the leading edge of some colder air. So Elgin, Schwamberg, Palatine, you guys are all going to be getting cooler air with this. I thank you, Mark, for gifting one membership. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. If you guys get a membership from Mark, make sure you thank him in chat, or yeah, thank him in chat, or I will allow my dog to poop on your lawn. That will happen. So you better say thank you. Corn sweat in full effect. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the reason why it was so hot was because there's a dew point of 83 degrees with a temperature of 94 degrees, which is just, oh man, I can't even imagine. That is like, it's not air you can wear, that is air that wears you. It is just very, very hot and humid. I'm sure you go outside, and within the next 10 minutes, your t shirt is probably soaked. I'm wild, and hey, I mean, if you get a free gift, you better say thank you. Yeah, the strongest winds with this do appear to be in this area, kind of north of Arlington Heights, at least according to radar. And we're definitely getting those stronger winds along this region, which are slowly approaching Evanston. In terms of rotation, we still have a broad area of circulation in this area here, but again, still not strong enough yet to concern me. See the tornado possible label? Yeah, I see it. Again, they just throw those on storms that could potentially rotate. We were concerned that if this storm latched onto this boundary, that it could potentially try to rotate. But as of right now, as you can see, that boundary is getting pushed away from the storm, just like so. So it should lower the tornado probabilities with this storm to almost zero, as it is an outflow dominant or a cold air dominant storm. The warm air dominant storms, those are the ones that you need to worry about, especially when they're latched onto one of those cooler boundaries. How long will I be live for? Probably until this exits off of the coast. We might talk about the tropics for a little bit after that, and then I'll probably get off. Again, we're not really expecting too much tornadic activity today, so I really don't think I'm going to be needed for much. We're just kind of, I wanted to do a forecast and cover this severe weather for a little bit because we were having some issues here in Michigan. Again, if you guys didn't know, if you're just now tuning in for this storm in Chicago, because, it's pretty populated there in Chicago, then you probably don't know about Michigan, who they have 347,000 people without power right now. Due to some storms that went through there earlier. So pretty impactful event. I mean, a lot of counties, I would say about 50 to 60% of the counties have some sort of power outage in Michigan. Yeah, we're not expecting tornadoes today, no. New severe thunderstorm warning, and yeah, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning in Kansas City. That's going to be for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Let's see where this guy's going. Yeah, it's just kind of a stationary storm. Watch out for some flooding there, and some quarter-sized hail. 60-mile-per-hour winds, power outages could technically be possible there. And you can really see this outflow boundary here. The thing that I like to do is to kind of go back in frames and watch the beginning. It's always cool to see these outflow boundaries expand. Look at that. Wow. So it started with, watch this little storm right here, and then you'll see that outflow boundary expand out from it. That's all of that cold air getting pushed out. Oh, that's so cool. That is so cool. Sorry, it's nerdy, I know. Let's go check back in over with Ohio again. Wow, they upgraded this severe thunderstorm now to 70 miles per hour. That's going to be going down towards Waterville, Bowling Green. This portion of the storm is still warned for 60 miles per hour. That's going to be going to Port Clinton, Fremont, and Sandusky here in Ohio. Pretty strong storm there south of Toledo as well. An outflow circle, yeah. That's what happens when you don't really have much, steering in the atmosphere, and you just get a big old updraft, and then it drops a bunch of cooler air, and then all that cool air spreads out and then interacts with that warmer at the surface, and that's why you start to get, these little green boundaries set up as that kind of pushes into it. It's not enough forcing to cause a separate thunderstorm to form, but it's enough to kind of show up on radar, and it's usually pretty cool. And in fact, we should be about to see an outflow boundary come close to this camera here shortly. But as you can see, we're going to be on the rainy side of this storm for a while until it starts to exit out over the coast. How far south of Toledo? That main area of winds should be hanging out by around Bowling Green. And that's going to continue to kind of push to the south and east towards like Gibsonsburg, maybe North Baltimore eventually. Does seem like that severe weather here in Canada is very spotty. I'd be surprised if you guys had more than like 60 miles per hour winds with most of these. Does seem like that storm is on a weakening trend. What states are in Hurricane Alley? Well, Hurricane Alley isn't really a thing. Although there are places that, we always got to watch out for hurricanes. I would say if we did have a Hurricane Alley, it would be this region where, a most likely landfall in any given year. And we've actually already had two in this area. We've had one here, and then, Beryl came up here and then went close to Houston. But then also, you can get some out here as well. So, there really isn't, a hurricane alley. It's just if you live near the Atlantic and you live near the coast, you got to be watching out for that stuff. And, more inland, you got to be watching out for the tornado threats that, tropical systems can bring as well. Oh, Tornado Alley. Tornado Alley is like the most common place to see tornadoes in like the Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska region. At least those really beautiful supercells. I mean, you can get tornadoes anywhere though. It just depends. I mean, we've even tracked tornadoes in California, but the highest probability areas are, in the southeast, also in the Great Plains, the Southern Plains, and then also, as we saw this year, in the Ozarks going into the Ohio Valley as well. We've had a lot of tornadoes in this region this year. We've covered your guys' areas probably more than almost any other area this year. It's been very active up here. What's my opinion on the Dakota tornado threat? I think the storm is being elevated will limit it a bit. Oh, the Dakotas. I think they're going to be behind a cold front, if I remember correctly. So that should almost completely eliminate the tornado threat. The photographs up there are looking pretty promising. I don't know. I think it's something to watch. It's a pretty conditional threat, but it seems to be more reliant on storm interaction, which makes it a lot harder to predict. So it'll be kind of hard to tell. But it's a day that to monitor for sure, just in case, which I probably will. Yeah, it looks like that out. Looks like that gust front is now kind of pushing into Des Plaines. Next in line is going to be Glenview, Park Ridge, Highland Park, and Lake Forest, and then after that's going to be Evanston and Chicago. Remember, this thing is warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds and half-dollar sized hail. Both of these areas, also in this northern area, Lake Forest and Highland Park. Make sure that you guys are indoors and away from windows. I do want to check in on that. Uh, on the power outages again and see if we have any upticks in this region. Yeah, we are getting an uptick. So we are now at 10,000 people without power in Illinois, and all of that is coming from McHenry County, Lake County, and also Cook County, where we are starting to see those numbers tick up. So this storm, it's not a very large storm, in terms of size, but the winds are strong enough to be knocking out power for a lot of folks in this region. Yeah, there's a tiny severe thunderstorm warning over Kansas. Yeah, Kansas City. You took a short time lapse of the formation. Can you send that to me on Twitter? Here, I'll put my Twitter thing in chat. Send that to me on Twitter or at me on Twitter or send me a DM. I'll check it out. Show it on stream. Bryson Jones sent me a video from Northern Illinois. I think that's today. What happened? So small. Can I make this bigger? And you can kind of see it in the distance there between the tree and that house. Thank you for sending that in, Bryson. That's a fake max velocity. Yeah, we do have a fake max velocity in chat. Weird. That is Bantam. Annoying. Yeah, still waiting on the winds. It'll be interesting to see what this storm is really packing all the way down here in Evanston. Crap. You still see the anvil of the storm. We might start to see the base of it here in a little bit. Because if we look on radar, you can see this portion of the storm is getting pretty close to this camera. Again, this camera is located, I think, just to the north of Evanston. You're going to send a video? Yeah, send it my way. I'll be looking for it. Oh, I never put the Twitter link in chat here. Well, then change your name if you don't want to get banned. That's not fair to Max if you're going around trying to act like him and you say something stupid. So, either change your name or get banned. Chillicothe, Missouri. Yeah, it's possible. There are storms in the area. Oh no, that's Quincy. No, Chillicothe. Isn't it down here? Where's Chili? Where is the chili place? Oh, there it is. Phew. You know, watch this outflow boundary. If there's enough instability going into the night, it might be enough forcing to make a storm, you know, try to initiate, but it seems like you might miss out on something. It's just kind of one of those days where a storm could kind of pop up out of nowhere. So I'd be looking out for it. We also got this storm over here that might produce an outflow boundary. The instability out here is pretty nice. It just depends if you get enough forcing for one of those storms to kind of develop. But it's not something that I'm going to really be able to predict with any accuracy, to be honest. Yeah, those winds should have gone through Des Plaines and are now pushing towards Evanston, Park Ridge, and eventually is going to make it down into Chicago, downtown Chicago here soon. I do have a decent camera in downtown Chicago, if I remember correctly. You just double check. It's usually pretty hazy. Yeah, it's so hazy in downtown Chicago. But we'll bring it up. Maybe we'll see the outflow boundary. That could be fun. Detroit's looking better, by the way. That fountain is cool at night. That's actually really cool. This is Chicago here, downtown Chicago, and it's hazy. Can't really see much, but we'll see if we can see that little outflow boundary move through there. Oh my God, is that someone jet skiing out there? That person is bold. We got a jet skier. I can guarantee it, unless he knows what a storm really looks like, he has no idea what's coming. Tons of haze, yeah. There's a lot of haze there, that's for sure. A lot of haze, not a lot of highs. Or lows, just haze. Imagine he was jet skiing while watching my stream. If anybody ever jet streams, I don't care if it's a past stream or a current stream. If you can send me a video of you jet skiing while watching my stream, I'll put it in my intro. Jet ski is the new storm chaser. That would be wild. That would. I don't think you guys realize how crazy it is to be out on a lake, even during like a weak thunderstorm. Any rotation? We still don't have, as far as I've been able to tell, we still don't. Ooh, what did I do? There we go. We still don't have any dangerous rotation at all. Just an outflow boundary and some strong winds of up to 70 miles per hour, which can do damage. We're already starting to see some power outages. We don't have any reports yet of damage yet, but we're keeping an eye on it. There is a storm in Dodge City heading towards Wichita. We'll check it out. Yeah, there's a couple of clusters of storms, but it's not really moving towards Wichita. They're just kind of stalled. A lot of these storms really aren't moving that quickly. Really, our fastest moving storms in this area are up here. I'm kind of concerned for flooding, actually, in southern Kansas City. If this hangs out for a little bit longer, we might start to get some flooding issues over there near Overland Park, Olathe, and Gardner. And then if this one continues to just kind of sit here north in northern Kansas City, could potentially see some flooding issues there as well. The good news is there's no rotation on any of these storms. Mainly just 60-mile-per-hour winds, and some instances of quarter-sized hail are going to be possible with some of these stronger thunderstorms. It's a lot, really just a lot of rain with these storms and some quarter-sized hail, and potentially some 60-mile-per-hour winds here in Missouri as well, heading towards Shelbina and Wakanda. There is an 80-mile-per-hour wind report. Really? On your radar program? Let me see if I can find an actual like report that I can show of that. We'll go to storm reports. 75 miles per hour in Macomb. Yeah, that hasn't showed up on the storm report, or at least the SPC storm report page, but those are usually lagged behind. So we are all just in here. I guess so. We're all just in here watching a storm. I mean, none of us have anything better to do than get indoors and away from windows if you're in the path of this storm. So just go do it. Just go do it. You got nothing better to do. Like I said, you're not going to die from the storm, but it is going to be enough to potentially knock out some power and definitely put your life at risk if you're outside. But as long as you're indoors and away from those windows, you'll be fine. Check DMs. Oh, wow. Yes. Help is catching some pretty cool shots here of the approaching storm. Look at that. Some towering, that's actually the outflow boundary right there. So typically along these outflow boundaries, you'll see little cumulus to cumulonimbus kind of forming along that leading edge. So that is the outflow boundary that you're looking at there. That's really cool. Good shots. Very, very cool. I really like the sun kind of poking through there. You got those God rays happening. Good job, Help. Then we got oh yeah, very similar view. Looks like you might have a neighbor here. Help, as this person sent in this photo. Who is this? Yeah, no name on this person, but you can see that outflow boundary there on this as well. You guys are almost neighbors. It is like almost the exact same shot. North of Chicago, looking north. Yeah, it seems like that main threat for those. Oh wow, we did have a storm split. Look at that. The storm split in half, and now we have two storms, potentially three. We got this first round here, about to push. Oh, hello. There's the storm. Now just see it off of the horizon there. I wonder if we'll see a water spout. How cool would that be if we caught a water spout? Not sure if I can get this quality any better. It says 360. Can we do 720? And now it's at 720p. It's a little bit clearer. But yeah, this is that storm that's pushing off of the coast near Evanston. I guess there could be a small chance for a water spout. Look at those winds starting to move the water a little bit better there. Getting a little bit more ripply, believe it or not. Yeah, the flags are also moving a little bit there too. That's that outflow boundary that's just pushing into this area here. Yeah, people are running away from the beach here. I think they got the message. Oh yeah, lots of people running away, except for these two folks near the coast. They seem to be unfazed. They got their feet in the water too. What if a lightning bolt struck? Bunch of hooligans. We'll see. The wind should really pick up here as that rain starts to pull in too. Yeah, the wind's kind of coming out of the north, moving to the south and east. Not seeing any water spouts yet. I think if we got any water spouts, they're probably associated with the outflow. Oh, you can see that heavier rain starting to. They're just off of the coast there. Does this one have any audio? No audio. Oh, what is that? There's a big old wind gust off the coast there. Move the water. Oh, yeah, there's another one. Here comes the wind. Big old wind gust there. Look at how fast those are moving across the water. Whoa, is that a water? I don't think that is. That was weird. It almost looks circular there for a second. And there's some strong winds along that gust front. There's another big gust. Whoa, now the water's really moving. There comes the wind. And this is moving into Evanston, north of Chicago, downtown Chicago. North of downtown into Evanston. Definitely seeing those winds pick up. Look at those flags. And we've got that one random dude. There's always one random dude. We got a Illinois man. That might be a lifeguard. I don't know. He's got a backpack. I feel like lifeguards have backpacks. Is that a thing? And look at those. Look at that wind moving across the lake. That's where the winds would be the strongest, right? Pretty much, you know, along the beach, because you have them kind of moving over the water. Watch that flag fly. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it stays on the pole. That rain or small hail, it could technically be small hail. Watch for it like bouncing off of the ground. But I think most of it's rain. It's just illuminated a little differently as it comes closer to the camera. But there could be still some small hail in this. I mean, it's warned for half-dollar sized hail. And we're in that main or not the main precipitation, but I mean a decent part of that precipitation there. So there could be some small hail in here. Man, look at those. Oh, wow. Okay. Really picking up here. Look at those winds. What the? That was a really strong gust there off of the coast. Oh, wow. Really picking up here now. Again, if you live in Evanston, this is pretty much over you. These winds will probably push down into the downtown Chicago region, potentially, but might stay just to the north, because this seems to be some of the more intense winds with the storm right now. Sent me something on Twitter. I think I already looked at it. Let me check. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, the storm tracks in Wichita. Okay, thank you for sending that in. Do appreciate that. You're going to hit Edgewater. Where is Edgewater? Must be one of these smaller regions in here. I mean, Evanston is really getting the brunt of this. Also, north of Evanston, Willamette, Wanika, Glencoe. Rogers Park is probably going to get in on this. Lincoln Square as well. Still some pretty strong winds here. Is that a bird? That was a bird that crossed the screen. That's unfortunate. Just continue to be indoors and away from windows again. This is what you could experience here along the coast, north of Chicago. Again, no rotations in these fellas are in this storm right now. So we're still good in terms of a tornado threat. But the pretty strong winds and power outages, I would not be surprised if we really start to see those power outages uptick here in Illinois. But we'll see. Might lag behind a little bit. Would this be affecting the campus of Northwestern? I don't know where that is. Any funnels? No. Hey, thank you, Quinn, for becoming an EF1 member. I do appreciate it. We do have some storms forming on the backside of this as well, near Schwamberg. I'm not sure if those are going to be as strong as this one. They shouldn't be, as they're going to be behind that outflow boundary. So they shouldn't be as strong, but they're definitely going to probably carry some sort of damaging winds. Go check back over here near. What is this lady doing? You better get yourself back in that car. Too windy. What if a little piece of flying debris came through? Good news for Ohio, they did downgrade the 70-mile-per-hour warning to 60 miles per hour. That's going to be going towards Findlay, Tiffin, Norwalk, Elyria, uh, Parma, and Cleveland. It's mainly going to be associated with this boundary here. So continue to be indoors and away from windows. We actually have a pretty good cam in the Cleveland area we could go look at. It's one of our favorite cams to watch. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, Edgewater Beach. Let me get this up. We might be able to see that outflow boundary. One, two, oh, a ship. There we go. Man, look at all those people out there. The heck? I mean, this camera is in a severe thunderstorm warning. Not a whole lot of rain or thunder, though, thankfully, but could get some gusty winds. We'll keep an eye on this, but this one's definitely got the best view, at least of the storm in Chicago, so we'll have that one be under me for now. Yeah, the worst of it should be, over for a lot of the folks. Again, the strongest winds were mainly along that gust front. Still some gustier winds over there near Glenview. It still could have some gustier winds associated with this boundary. Let me know if you guys feel anything strong in downtown Chicago. Also could have these storms eventually, but these ones are going to be a little bit weaker. How far southeast Ohio is this line going to make it? It shouldn't make it that far. It should start to fall apart here pretty soon. But if it does continue to go this far south and east, maybe Mansfield or Akron. Let me check the latest HRRR. It hasn't really been handling this storm. Okay, so it does have a better depiction on it. Yeah, maybe Akron, Youngstown, before it kind of falls apart. Man, look at these storms kind of pop up here in northern Indiana later on today. Or like South Bend, Fort Wayne, Logansport. That's new. Very interesting. That could pack some punches there in terms of some damaging winds. Also, north of this little cluster should start to get moving eventually and push up near Davenport, Galesburg, Iowa City region. Interesting. That's a new development. We'll see if that actually happens. Where do you send a video? Here, I'll put it in chat. Just you can DM it to me on Twitter or at me on Twitter. What? Holy crap. Is this a microburst? Oh my gosh. Those are really strong winds. It's at least 70, 80 miles per hour. Is that a water spout? I don't think it was. There's no rotation. That was just a random, really strong area of wind. Let me see if I can go back at all. Yeah, we can go back. Hold on. Let's investigate. Okay, and then it kind of clears out. And then bam. All hell breaks loose. Oh my gosh, look at those signs. What the heck? Those signs went flying. This might be a microburst here. Wow, those winds were really ripping. Look at those signs go. I mean, that's definitely at least 70, 80 mile per hour winds, maybe even higher. That might have been like a little microburst or maybe like a brief water spout. It's hard to tell. Such a random uptick there of wind. And the flag was still there. Very true. Wow. So this is what we talk about when when we're looking for those 80 mile per hour winds. All heck! Oh my gosh! What the heck? That must have been a microburst. What the heck was that? Look how it just escalates out of nowhere. Wow. Well, watch it again. That is intense. I'm trying to see if I see, like, I'm keep going back because I'm trying to see if I can see like any circulation. What? I think that was a microburst, guys. This is exactly what I experienced at my house. It got a little bit quieter, then all of a sudden it just goes whoosh, and it just goes crazy. Like those winds right there look like 90 to 100 miles per hour. Well, watch it one more time. Yeah, that's at least 90 to 100 mile per hour winds there. That is crazy. Wow. And then here's the conditions currently. Nice and calm now. Crazy. Holy crap. Microburst is like, you get a strong instance in the updraft where a lot of that cooler air goes up, and it's got to come down at some point. And it kind of all comes down at once, and you can get, in a small area, you can get an escalation of the winds, anywhere from 80 to like 140 miles per hour. Microbursts can be very powerful. They're very isolated events, but that right there, I think, was at least 90 to 100 mile per hour winds there. At least 90, because again, those were really powerful winds. The camera survived. Yeah, that is true. Wow, that was crazy. I still can't believe that. Not expecting that. And that went through Evanston. We're going to see an uptick of power outages here, I'll tell you what. Yeah, the umbrella survived. What? That's true. The umbrella did survive. It's a miracle. It's the strongest umbrella to have ever existed. I think it's like a metal pole, and you can see on the edges of the umbrella here, it's like it's fastened to like something metal there or plastic. So it's not your average umbrella, outdoor umbrella. I mean, it's still pretty windy. It certainly still is pretty windy. That was a super intense wind gust there. I mean, that's about as strong as you'll get out of a severe thunderstorm like this. Again, like if we go back and look at it again, what do you guys think here? We'll watch it again, and then everybody put your estimates in chat on how strong you think those winds were. So it got hectic, got really hectic at the beginning of the storm. Oops, what happened? Find the spot again. Like right after that truck left, it like calmed down a little bit and then it got more intense again. Yeah, there's where it calmed down. And then here's where it goes crazy. You see those signs fly. How fast do you guys think that wind was? There's the first big gust. And then the second big gust is coming where it just goes absolutely crazy. And I don't use those terms often. This is definitely on the extreme end of the scale of what you see these storms do. I'm thinking we're dealing with a microburst. We probably have a lot of trees down and power out in this area. Wait for it. Hold on. Yeah, it's right here. How fast do you think those winds are? Right in there. Like it looks like we're inside of a tornado. Like if that was like a weak tornado or like a weak water spout or a microburst. I'm thinking a microburst. Carol, play it one more time so you guys can get your guesses in. Think about it. I mean, I'm thinking like 90 to 100. I mean, this storm was only warned for 70 mile per. I mean, look how fast it comes on. Like that could even be faster than 100. All that dust blowing around that sand. It's definitely not 70. This is what we look for. You know, I tell Chad all the time. It's like when we're looking when we're like when it's under a severe thunderstorm warning, and you know we're looking to see if the winds are 80 miles per hour. And I tell them it's like all hell breaks loose. And this is like all hell breaking loose plus a little bit more hell breaking loose. So we're like at least I'm thinking like 90 to 100. That's my guess. Jeez. Like the reason why I think it's a microburst is because look how calm it was. This is like 10 seconds before. I mean, it's still windy, don't get me wrong, but the speed in which it goes from this to all of a sudden boom. So it's either a water spout that just made landfall just off of camera or it was a microburst. But regardless, I think those winds were like at least 90. That's wild. Someone clip that. Send it to me on Discord. That's crazy. Yeah, the worst of it's done here. Looks like they are warning this part of the storm for 60 miles per hour, but the strongest storm is off the coast. So I think that's gonna be it. I think it's gonna be it for this stream, at least for this portion of the stream. I might come back on later if need be. Like if this thing, you know, kind of goes out and then comes back in and really forms into a strong line of storms, we'll look at it. But for right now, the storms are going to be on the downtrend for most of these areas. And we got to watch out for this guy kind of forming into a line. If that forms into that line and the winds start to really increase again, we might come back live later on tonight. But I'm going to take a little bit of a break. We've been live for a little bit here. Also, let's do a quick little tropical update before we get off here. Actually, no. I think I'm gonna devote a full live stream to a tropical update tomorrow, I think. Tree in front of the house is bent over. Interesting. And Fairfield or in Iowa could get some damaging winds potentially from this cluster if it surges up to the north, which is what the models are saying. So Davenport, Iowa City, it should be on the tamer side. Nothing like what we just watched. Already ending the stream. I mean, we've been live for 3 hours. I got to eat sometime. Yeah, it was a grand finale for sure. Jeez Louise. Really hope everybody there is okay. I mean, those were really, really strong winds. So, yeah, it's definitely strong enough to loft debris. So, if anybody was outside, they might have got hit by some of that debris. So, hope everyone's all right. We'll check the power outages really quick, but it usually takes a little bit for them to uptick. Yeah, we now have 29,000 people without power, so they are upticking 21,000 without power there in Lake, and then I'm sure we're going to see Cook County's power outages uptick with that little microburst. You were outside. Video sent. Are you really? Hey, thank you, Terry, for the $40 on Cash App. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's a huge amount of money. Everybody put birthday cakes in the chat for Terry. Thank you. I'm not seeing the video. Not sure where you sent it, but I am not seeing the video. I don't have an @ or anything. So, am I planning on being live tomorrow? Possibly, yeah. I mean, if we get a severe uptick, I mean, if we're just talking about 60-mile-per-hour winds, probably not. But if we start to get a wide swath of 70-mile-per-hour winds again, I'll probably go live for it. So, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, check on your neighbors there in Evanston. Make sure they're okay. That was a powerful wind event. And again, we don't fear monger or anything on this channel. If it doesn't look bad, we say it how it is, and that right there, that was a strong wind event. So check on your friends and neighbors in Evanston. Make sure they are okay. And yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for liking the stream. Everybody that subscribed, welcome to the channel. And we will see you guys potentially tomorrow. We'll see how the weather, how the storm develops. It could be, again, some damaging winds with that as well. I might go live for a little bit. We'll talk about the tropics probably a little bit more with that live stream. But yeah, until then, you guys take it easy. Stay safe out there. Still some severe weather possible there in the Chicago region. It shouldn't be as bad because it's behind that outflow boundary. Also over here in Kansas City, watch out for some instances of severe weather. Further north from this cluster could see some severe weather kind of spread up to the north towards Iowa City and Davenport. Later, maybe Galesburg as well. And then, and this right here could form into a line of storms and eventually kind of work its way down to the south towards areas like Portage, South Bend. So be on the lookout for that. It shouldn't be as bad as what we experienced in Michigan, but we could have some instances of 60 to 70-mile-per-hour winds. So just keep your eye out for that possibility there. But you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the next stream. See ya.